and folks have reacted the same way, which tells me it's the same idea. And then folks have to judge for themselves what it all means. I've already determined it for myself what it is. You know, it's exactly what you just said it is. That once you become in a certain flow space, I'm not going to say that other term anymore. He's ruined the term for me. Once you get into a certain flow space and a certain space of consciousness and awareness and neutrality, right? Non-reactivity to the world and life on life's terms, but rather responsibility and accountability, as I talk about on the ground colloquially, you start to speak with confidence and authority because you're faithful in generating results.
Wait, how do you determine you're a true neutrality? That's ridiculous. Everyone is subjective. You can't just completely neutralize your mind with any priors about who you are and how you look at the world. That's ridiculous.
So now you're going to make claims about what other beings are capable of and not capable of?
Yes. I'm saying that's a ridiculous. You're making a ridiculous claim of saying, "Oh, someone could just be completely neutral." I'm
saying there's a space of neutrality. Many beings who I'll do the game you just did. You might want to go and study all these principles because there's many folks who talk about reaching a space of nirvana or even neutrality, where they're above and beyond the reactivity of the world and the beings in it playing themselves out of position.
Yeah, that's
Bruce Lee was one of them. He developed a whole martial arts style, combining other styles, and then his own understanding of the way to the way. So it was a non-aggressive, neutral space for martial arts where something comes at you and you respond accordingly. Nothing more, nothing less. Exactly what's needed.
So let me ask you something, Paul. We don't need God's direction. We don't need. According to you, we've never communicated with God and
I didn't say that. I don't know how you got that.
I'm asking you, Paul. Can you hold your horses?
You're asking me a question completely contrary to what I've. You're asking a question that's completely contrary to what I've laid out. So that's revealing either your willful ignorance or your lack of comprehension. How did you get out of everything that I said? That I said we never communicate with the force you call God. How did you get to that determination?
If you would have let me finish my question.
A long question, huh?
Yeah, it's a long question. These things are complicated.
A question that leads to an answer that you're going to give, I'm sure.
No, I'm not leading you on. I'm just asking you. Okay, so in your worldview, we've had no communication with God whatsoever, but through our minds. Is that correct, or is that a bad assessment?
I wouldn't state that this is a mind endeavor. I don't even presume to know what the mind is completely. I don't think anyone knows what it is completely. This is more of a heart space, like when you see the Christed being with the heart in every picture and then the crown of thorns. I relate more to that symbology and imagery, right? A very caring, big heart with a crown of thorns. Sacred
heart stuff?
Next question.
So it's a mind. I'm asking you so you're saying we've never communicated with God. How do we do that?
I didn't say
How do we know who God is?
I don't know. How do we? You're the one claiming to know.
Yeah, I'm making the claim of Jesus Christ.
And you can't prove it.
Well, what do you mean prove it? Like
if we were at a court of law where you had to give me some understanding that compels me.
There's evidence out there. And
evidence is not proof. You do horrible at court.
Yeah, but what's the evidence? I'm curious, if you're going to make a case for Christ here.
There isn't even any historicity of that being you talk about, right? Because it's most likely a made up being that tells a tale of a story that relates to all of us. It's the same story they told way before that being over and over again with different names. This guy doesn't care to know that or look at that evidence. So there isn't even any historicity. There's folks who lived at the time. There's folks who lived at the time who they still have records of laundry bills, dental bills, all types of innocuous pieces of evidence and proof of beingness. There is no historicity of that being other than that story told 200 years after supposed death. I'm not buying it. Sorry. You got pimped and macked on is really what it amounts
to. That's your shortcoming, Paul.
I got it, but you're the one who's angry and hateful and divided and confused. I'm not. Excuse me?
Have you ever really even looked into it?
Yeah, I've looked into it, sir.
What
Spent a fair bit of time looking into it.
What have you found?
I just told you what I found. Mithra.
Be a little bit more specific. What evidence do you deny?
Mithra, Horus,
Oh
Nimrod.
my goodness! So similar.
Are you going to talk over every answer I give because you're not interested in learning? You're interested in defending your position and disqualifying mine or the position you think I hold?
So vaguely similar stories. Discounts.
No, not vaguely similar. Exactly the same.
Okay. What is the story of Mithra?
Come to heal the sick. Died and was resurrected. Dead for 3 days. Rose again. It's all astrotheology mixed with psychology, sociology, and okay.
Dude, this is TikTok theology, bro. This is bad, man. But continue.
Next question.
Continue, man. Mithra. Okay.
TikTok theology. Okay.
Mithra,
so do you want to look up the mainline history right now, or you don't believe that? What do you believe that you also don't believe? Because you
Osiris,
the mainline accounts.
What else we got? What other?
Okay. Right. Because I know in your world, like the whole world was created whenever the Bible was made. In your little mind.
Fortunately,
in your little mind, there's no other place on the world that existed by any other theology worth anything, and the timeline doesn't start till Jesus appeared. So you like your little chimpanzee brain just sees like a Polly Pocket world where everything revolves around Jesus, a story you can't even confirm. The world didn't exist anywhere else but on that land, and not before he existed. You're a bizarre, dysfunctional human being with very limited consciousness. I feel the same way
about you, Paul.
You're in a cult,
so
bro.
Endearing.
You're in a cult, bro.
You're in a cult
simple.
Too, brother.
It's a cultural mind and heart control with ideology.
You're in a cult of your own understanding. That's your cult, sir.
There's no such thing as my understanding. How could I come up with an understanding that applied for me works for other people? That's the most foolish thing I've ever heard.
This is the cult.
How could I come up with my own understanding as a being part of creation that works for other beings in creation if it was my understanding? That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah,
only understanding works for other selves. There is no my and your understanding. There's true understanding and there's misunderstanding. True understanding works for other selves. Misunderstanding causes problems and controversy with other selves. You're an example. I'm an example of one. You're an example of the other.
Right. You're right. I'm wrong. You're not a narcissist at all, Paul.
Listen, you come here constantly. Paul. I don't go seeking you out. So if I'm a narcissist, you identify as a victim. If I'm a narcissist, then you're my victim. If I'm a narcissist, there's got to be another side to that coin. What does a narcissist attract? A victim. You're a victim mentality person. So I'll accept your characterization.
Paul.
Yes, you are. You're a fallen being in consciousness. You're born out of sin. You're irredeemable unless you believe on Jesus, your daddy, who's going to save you from yourself. You're the prime candidate for victim Olympics. Are you kidding?
Nah.
You're a complete subconscious victim. You don't even know it. That's how pathetic you are. So if I'm a narcissist, you're the other side of that coin.
Paul. You sound so insecure.
I'd rather be a narcissist in control of myself and others,
including you once
that identify as a victim. So I'll accept your characterization to avoid a foolish argument.
Theology was a little overboard, but
right. You don't even understand. You don't even understand what narcissism is. You can't even explain it. This is a pop culture word now. Could you explain to me some of the top characteristics of narcissism, please? For the audience and our clarity, because I know it's used a lot, but you folks don't seem to understand what it is. Could you give us some clarity, please, Mr. Psychoanalyst and Theologist?
Nah, Paul.
I'm sure you could. So why even speak some shit you can't explain and don't understand, whether it's religion or psychology? You don't understand any of it and can't explain it worth a damn.
Oh boy, your entitlement, your overestimated sense of self-importance.
So I start a broadcast. You show up every day.
Go through this list,
so I start a broadcast. You show up every day, pushing your nonsense on me while I have understanding and I'm entitled. Fascinating. Tell us more.
Yeah, keep sending me in the back room, dude. You're such an insecure.
Got it,
dude.
I'm insecure.
You're so insecure, man. Just kick me, dude.
Anything else?
Anyway, have a great day, Paul.
Great showing, TOiLETBOWLEARTH. As always, you're really on the ball there. You're really spiritual,
Be good,
with clarity and understanding. We really got it. There was so much knowledge and power and inspiration
just demean me and berate me while I'm gone.
Oh, right. So you can call me actual names ad hominem that don't mean anything other than showing you're angry and triggered. But when I describe your condition as I perceive it, I'm calling
I get you, buddy. And all you little shits down there, they're going to rah-rah and cheer you on.
Got it. So there's your insecurity coming out. Rather than you focus on talking about truth with me, you're focused on folks in the chat going to tell you you're an idiot. Sorry that the folks in chat perceive you as a dumbass. You did that. I didn't do that.
I have to observe these things, you know. It's in my area.
You have to observe everything but what the fuck you're saying and doing, right? Everyone else, everything else but what you're thinking, feeling, saying, and doing. That'll work well for you in your life. I found that works well in people's lives.
Anyway, have a good day, Paul.
Great. That's great stuff. All right. Have a great day. Passive aggressive bullshitter. Your thoughts, expert panel? Another lost, confused, broken, dogmatic slave with nowhere to go but here to argue with me about what he knows is truer than whatever he chooses to believe. Can't hear you, Dick.
God, I'm an idiot. I just fucking can't help but just fucking do stupid things today.
God did that.
I think so. That was God shutting off my voice. He said, I'm not going to let you speak, and we'll do it by you muting yourself.
Like the time Jesus put Lou's headphones under the bed, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoy those conversations. I think that TBE gets pretty bent out of shape and feathers ruffled on it. He's tried to come back humble and, take a different demeanor with it. But look, when you challenge people's faith, you challenge their position. I mean, the book, it tells you to test all things. So it really shouldn't be surprising when other people do that. If they're wondering what you believe or what you think, and we start asking these questions, that's fair game.
So you're saying every time they come up here proclaiming they have such strong faith, they always convict themselves with their words, their body language, their tone, and their, fighting and running, because really they're insecure in their position and projecting that. I'm strong in my faith. I've shown that over and over again. And I always generate similar, if not same results, no matter who I'm with. So that's true faith. Faith in myself and in a process, the way that generates pretty much the same results over and over again, no matter what's before me. Why wouldn't I have faith in that? He doesn't have true faith. He has blind faith. He's insecure in that blind faith because he has no knowing. You have knowing, you don't need choices like beliefs. Belief is a choice. Knowing is not. Based in results.
Yeah. They often come at it as if you've never contemplated these things or you haven't went through the same process that you're asking them to go through when it comes to their belief. And it's, as if you would have to go to seminary school and spend 8 years learning words like presuppositionalism and hermeneutics and exegesis and eisegesis. And they tell you, well, it's complicated. And it's like, yeah, but I thought God is not the author of confusion.
Dick,
so why is your God so confusing?
Let me ask you this. If you went in front of a monk and he was going to do some parlor trick for you, right? I'm going to bend the spoon. Does he believe he's going to bend the spoon or already know it before it happens? Because if he doesn't know it, he's fucked, right? He's going to look like an idiot.
Exactly.
So he's got to know before going into it, I am the spoon and I'm going to bend it and watch me do it. He's not, I believe maybe I believe it. I believe, no, I have true faith that I am that am, and all material, right? All matter is connected in some way. And through my field of influence, I will move that spoon. So you have to have the will. Belief comes from your own will, right? I am that am knows, stands tall and walks alone. This is why you see the religionists in packs. Their faith is not strong. My faith has got to be strong. I stand tall and walk alone. Only weak bitches need groups. Truly faithful people like the Christed being stood tall and walked alone, and they knew what they were going to do using the will. Belief wasn't even in the equation.
Yeah, I think if you're strong in your position, you don't really have to think about what you're going to say. You don't have to worry about what you're confronted with. It's not even a need to defend anything. Now you're just sharing what you know. And for people that are stuck in a belief, faith type of mindset, that's not good enough for them because they're asking you to prove something that they can't prove. And you're saying, but I walk with it. So I'm a walking testimony of it. That's all I have to offer you is who I am, what I am, and the actions will follow the fruit that I produce. But beyond that, they want you to take it to this whole nother level where you're going to have some intellectual way to frame up God, and you're going to put God in a box, and you're going to make what surpasses all understanding, to the carnal mind, something that the carnal mind can actually control and define. And that's absurd. These are spiritual matters. And the only way we can know these things is through the spiritual eye that fortunately the Creator gave us, that interconnectedness, if we want to, entertain that part of ourselves.
Right. Again, the Tao speaks about this. You can't know it, but you can be it. Once you put a name on the unnameable, you're in foolishness. You're in cultural programming. This is objective logic. How could anybody know the name of God? Right? How could anybody believe the name of God through an anthropomorphized story in a book that we can't verify? That's foolishness. Right? If God is knowable, then it's apparent to us in our firsthand experience. If we can't get that, then it's not worth knowing, because you don't really know it. You have to believe on it. So, they got tricked out of position is really what it is. And then they go the other way, because you could make the case that if pure conscious and awareness is an aspect of God, then we are either God itself having an experience, or we are God-like. They don't like that language. They think that language is trying to overthrow the creational force and the program, right? And I understand why they have that perspective. I don't make those claims because I can't know that, right? I've had firsthand experiences where I've left my body and shown that I am pure conscious and awareness. I can't even know that's true and not a hallucination, which then begs the question, what exactly is a hallucination? Which then asks the question, what exactly is real, as Talcott says? And then we go to the matrix scene. What is real is chemical reactions in your brain that lead to a creation of a reality we experience that may or may not actually even be there. So then we go into, we might be actually in the mind of God.
Well, and they'll tell you the exact opposite, that God has many names, right? So it's like God is Jesus, God is Yahweh, Yahamashiach, Jehovah, Jehovah Jireh, Elohim, Yahweh, on and on and on. It's an absurd notion. You can't put a label on what's undefinable. You can only know and walk with it. And fortunately, if you have that perspective, you've been given the eyes to see and the ears to hear. From my vantage point, it's just as simple as that. People want to make it more complicated, like you got to go through some kind of mental gymnastics and do a backflip sideways to please God to have the correct understanding, which is really just to get up under the pastor, because he's going to tell you.
They made it a daddy, right? The people who know the psychology said, we broken up your family and your inner space, and we're going to provide you a cosmic daddy now. They're pimping and hoeing on you, right? Because again, the true power has to come through you and that communion. That's what communion is supposed to be. We're going to take you to communion. Who's it going to go through? The guy at the front of the room. More corruption, right? So the communion happens when you commune with a higher sense of self. Higher sense of self is not bodily identification and identification with names and books and people at the front of the room and organizations. That's the lowest form of worldly consciousness. So again, these folks are caught up in exactly the experience the Christed being was describing. They're on the wrong end of it, claiming to know the beingness that put forth that truth. And then when the truth is put forth again in the modern day age by the same state of beingness, they rebuke that as well. Is it a coincidence? Like I said, these have been the same folks saying, give me Barabbas, this guy Paulie, this guy Jesus, this guy Dick, whoever, is claiming he's God. He's claiming he knows God more than the institutions and the books and all the regalia and tradition. He's a blasphemer. And we keep saying, I'm not claiming that. Then they make another claim. I didn't say that. So you'd be sitting there all day dealing with the Pharisees and Sadducees and mind-controlled slaves, constantly explaining yourself, saying, this is pure consciousness and awareness. If you work with this force and the spirit, you could generate better results. Right? Are you saying you're God? You're saying you're above us all? You're saying that you're throwing, and I'm just telling you my firsthand experience, right? And they can't get out of their own way. So they'll have you put to death or shut up, right? Or they'll fight you and run to avoid having to look at themselves and where they've gone wrong literally from the beginning of time.
It just seems like another form of governmental. put your authority outside of yourself into the pastor, into a building of, authorities, elders, people that are above you that can think better, know better, will tell you who and what God is and how to view this God. And this is not the first time people have struggled with this. This is the human condition. So there's places where people wouldn't even say the word God because they knew it was limiting. And, the idea that God is bound to a book and this is his perfect, inherent, infallible word that, was from the beginning till the end, when it's full of errors, different accounts, anonymous authors, everything that, people in the chat are saying it's all historical. How is it historical? You have anonymous authors that present this and all these different events that happen, and there's no firsthand eyewitnesses. The earliest written down versions were 40 years after this man even existed. You telling me there wasn't some lost in the sauce or changing of words or things when it was just verbal stories told to each other?
So now we're going back down to the chat to appeal to the group dynamic. What's the point of leaving running from up here like a punk ass bitch down to the chat, pretending to be busy or have something else to do only to appeal to an audience and a group? Typing. You just projected your facile, fallacious argumentation and insecurity. You're projecting again, right? I didn't put forth a weak argument. I'm not showing insecurity. I'm standing my ground, unwavering in truth, presenting pretty much the same understanding over and over again, time and time again, to the same personality types who fight it and run from it. You're bizarre. It's bizarre you would even say that and think that anybody's going to believe something different than what they just experienced. More narcissistic behavior from a person projecting I'm a narcissist. Guy who wants to gaslight, obfuscate, fight and run, then respin narratives for everyone else watching. You are the narcissist. I'm not. Every one of them who calls me a narcissist, I don't fit any of the qualities when you look at it. I'm pragmatic, but I'm not narcissistic. I'm not in love with my own bullshit and my own reflection, right? I'm speaking truth. As far as I perceive it, I'm in love with that. I love truth. I serve that. So, just cut the games, seriously. And if you don't know you're doing it, go look into yourself and reflect. Watch this back. Realize who and what you are and change it, because it's not working. Nobody's buying it who has any discernment. And if you want to be surrounded by fools like you for the rest of your life and disempowered, well, have at it. Just keep doing what you've been doing. You'll never find a place amongst folks like myself, which oddly enough, you folks will say you don't want that, but you'll always find yourself back here one way or the other. So again, can't live with him, can't live without him. You all have the same human condition. And I have to be daddy and psychiatrist and guru and healer and spiritual teacher and a whole bunch of other things that I don't take on the claim and title for. But I wind up being that, I guess, by default. That's my purpose, oddly enough. God uses the least amongst us, apparently.
Well, he's asking you this question. Has God ever communicated outside of the mind? So he's got it all wrong from the outset. There's the carnal mind, there's the spiritual mind. But the idea that he's espousing is that, well, of course, Jesus communicated to you, but Jesus told you that these things were not reserved for him. In fact, greater things would you do. I know they say I'm taking that out of context, but he said that he's one with the Most High and that he and the Father dwell in you and we are all one. So none of this stuff is reserved for one archetype. And by the way, Jesus, that would have been his straw man name, right? Because Christ wasn't his last name. So Jesus is the straw man name. That's the fictitious character. That's probably the corporate entity. The Christed being, the Christ was a title. That was a status.
Right.
And just because he was this prophesied Messiah, so to speak, does not make him God. And that's why he never said he was God.
Yeah, it's just a state of awareness. It's again, I see the parallels in my story that Jack claims that I don't see in his story, right? I am somebody from a whole with nothing and no body who somehow thousands of folks are listening to. Someone you'd least expect. And what I put forth at times, folks have said is life-changing, healing, inspiring. Okay, so Christ, it would just be a state of self-awareness and therefore awareness of others that you could connect so much with beings of life on life's terms that they would feel one with you, right? It's a unifying force, one truth, one love, one understanding. We stand under the creational program and process, and we understand nobody's above the process. So we commune with that. Yeah, that's the way that I see it. Nobody and none of these people have ever put up any kind of argument to compel me in the slightest bit to move away from this firsthand experience and understanding that I've generated and know for myself to be true.
Paul, from the modern Orthodox Christian doctrine?
No,
like, did you ever get snagged into that?
Something about my spirit, man. I don't know what everyone else's experience is. I don't presume to know, but what it seems to me by firsthand experiences, there's been something different about me than the majority of people I meet, because something's been guiding me and protecting me this whole time that I don't know. It doesn't make logical sense, right? Just even I've seen so many people die, overdose, be in the same situations, get way more time, get caught up in the politics, the religions, the code, I've never done any of it. Right? And even when I was told to do it and made the moves to do it, it never let me do it. Right? Something never let me do it and never let it work out. Wouldn't matter. So I can't explain that, and I don't want to think that I'm different from everybody else and special. I don't perceive the creation working that way. Maybe it's I'm scared to accept that power because there's a lot of responsibility with that and accountability, and it's going to come across even more egoic and arrogant, and of course very lonely. It could be lonely to believe that, right? If I'm, like they say, the man who's proud of his intelligence is like the man who's proud of his large jail cell. When you're surrounded by dumbed down slaves, it could be a lonely existence if you let it be, right? But I choose aloneness rather than loneliness, if that makes sense.
All one.
Yeah. And again, the world is full of great people. If you can't find one, be one. Typically, once you are being one, you will find them more readily, because what you put out is what you get back. So, and I've seen some of that here.
Yeah, and I don't say what I say to change anybody's position, or it's just my position. It's just my perspective, and I'm not a static being. I've definitely grown and learned. I would say I was completely duped by the Christian doctrine, and just a lost person looking for guidance. And of course, they'll get you right up under their wing, and they'll lead you to a pit of vipers with all their deception and bullshit. In most cases, I'm sure there's some genuine people within those movements, but there's also a lot of real predators and people that will take advantage of your ignorance and your stupidity. So unless you're willing to do the work and come to your own convictions through your own discernment, I don't think you really have anything to stand on. And I think that's really why most of the quote Christians get so fucking out of sorts with these conversations. Like, they want to have it, but they're running at the same time because they know you're going to say something that's going to pierce right to the fucking core and cause them to have to look at everything that they're promoting.
And that's the thing. I've been the guy from day one thrown out of everywhere because I was at religious school asking them questions that they couldn't answer. And when they couldn't answer them, I said, oh, something's up. You folks don't know what you're talking about. So I guess my one greatest benefit and detriment is I've always trusted myself and my intuition. Again, to my own detriment sometimes, telling me my impulses and compulsions to do shit that I had to reverse engineer back and realize that wasn't exactly the spirit.
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly the highest state of conscience and consciousness. But, everyone around me knew that and saw that and called it out. And I said, I don't give a fuck. I'm doing what I want. All right. Till doing what I want became doing what needed to be done. So I just had to transition, trusting myself in all the wrong ways to trusting myself in all the right ways, if that makes sense. And then everything came together. But I don't see that with other people. They don't trust themselves to even destroy themselves with some idea. They don't trust themselves to live fully with some idea or some intuition. So afraid to fail, afraid to succeed. I guess the more I look at it, I've never really been afraid to fail or afraid to succeed. I just didn't know what was meant for me. So I chose failure. Right. And now, like I said, I'm choosing success on some level inside of myself first, which extends outside. And I don't want to be surrounded by folks who don't want to rise to that occasion. Why would I? You talk about ascension and enlightenment and all the rest. That's an upward and onward process. I don't need motherfuckers who choose to be dead weight. You talk about spirituality and don't understand, from my perspective, what it actually is. You do this walk, it's going to be a lot of alone time, a lot of time. It's going to be a lot of power with a lot of responsibility. It's going to be a lot of burden. You're going to have to alchemize into a change to feel peaceful and fulfilled when you're not on the clock, whatever that means.
Well, yeah, that's because their spirituality isn't spirituality. It's the carnal mind. They think they've intellectualized God. They actually think they know who and what God is, and they can put a definition on it. It's insane.
And that's the thing. When your mapping of reality is false, even a little bit, let alone a lot of it, you're going to generate a whole bunch of resistance and problems for yourself. You know, once your mapping is true enough to what reality is, it just flows. Shit just works. Even when it doesn't work, there's a solution. We keep it moving. Very little of this, you know.
Well said.
Yeah, oftentimes I think Wes Watson's on it because, you know, one thing seems to be for sure. You could tell what the root of somebody's beingness is by a certain level of their results. I don't care if it's the guy on the top of the mountain. When you go to meet him, he don't have to have Lamborghinis or nothing to point at. He could have a cave and an outfit, but something about his beingness is something you want, you know, want to be like or want to be around. So he has something you don't, right? So you could tell by somebody's results what they have or what they've acquired inside or out, you know, what their time, energy, attention is being put on and how effective it is. So there's a rich man in the world. There's a rich man in spirit. If you find a man one day who's rich in spirit and rich in the world, he might be onto something. Just saying, I might become one of those men. You might have to listen to me at that point. The same people who call me poor and broke aren't ever going to listen to me till I can point to something that they can't get to. So they think, right? Can't get to. That's how pathetic it is.
Yeah. And they want you to give the credit to what you've got to plastic Jesus, to some graven image deity that they've drawn an image of that was some old emperor, you know, with fucking blonde hair and blue eyes. And that's supposed to be your image of God now. And if you don't see it that way, then it's all for naught and you're going to hell, Paul. So that's basically the gist of what I get when I talk to these people.
Thoughts, expert panel?
I just genuinely don't buy it. I've looked at it. I take the matter seriously of spirituality. I look at all religions and I garner wisdom from the good book and the books that are not in there that are referenced in it, like Enoch and Jasher, and of course the Gospel of Thomas and all these other quote sacred texts. You know, you can't say one has God in it. If you do, you're a moron. God is not in a book and will not be bound. That's absurd.
I mean, this is pretty simple to figure out. Like, I don't even know why this has to be gone over so many times. There's humans that have been here since the beginning of time. Some of them are having certain experiences they're talking about. Some of them who talk about these experiences don't have the best comprehension and communication skills, it would seem. So when they go to talk about a godly experience, it comes out as a manly experience, if that makes sense. Right? The remix. You can't help but to put their own extras on it. So you got to be aware of that. Right? What being do you meet in the world that is purely objective and doesn't insert or project their own subjective experience onto whatever the fuck they're communicating? Oh my God, I saw God in a dream. And then they project a whole bunch of shit onto it that they didn't even see. Right? So it's like, you just got to be aware of your own psychology and everyone else's in order to discern and read between the lines. If not, you're going to get tricked out of position. Just like that person might have tricked themselves and others out of position. They could have an experience, go back down to consciousness, project a whole bunch of shit onto it, trick themselves right out of position. This force, if it's aliens or whatever it is, has probably been like frustrated since the beginning of time, because he goes, no matter what we show these chimpanzees, they always take it back and remix it and project something onto it.
Well, that's what Paul did, right? I mean, Jesus couldn't get it right when he was here. Apparently, what he said was not enough. So he needed another man to have another testimony. They have to take on word that he saw him, spoke with him. And now, you know, you read Paul's doctrine and he claims it's his doctrine. He'd even trick you with guile to get you to believe his doctrine. That's how bad he wants you to believe what he has to tell you about Jesus. And so you've got this whole book that's claiming, if you don't believe it's historically accurate, that some guy who had a vision and talked to a dead man and had a new way to present the gospel to you. Imagine like the things that you've said, Paul, or in my humility, I'll say the things that I've said, and then you die, and somebody comes after and say, "Oh, I saw Dick, I saw Paul, and this is what I'm supposed to tell you about all their." They couldn't have got it right while they were here. That alone is just absurd to me. It's a fucking.
So
joke.
we're observing the same dynamic again, right? The game doesn't change, right? Just the names and the faces, even those don't change. We got John, Paul, Luke, and all the rest still. So what does everyone think was so much different then that's not the same now? You got a bunch of fucking low consciousness, low comprehension, low awareness folks who constantly, even when having a spiritual experience, remix it and project onto it and then try to tell everyone else what it must be and has to be for everyone's safety. Ego bullshit, right? And then it's like, there's levels to that. Lao Tzu sitting there talking over and over again, saying those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. But then there's build it and they will come. So I build it and they come. Then they tell me I'm insecure. I'm the one with the foundation with something that I built on a rock. You're here to defend your position when I'm not even attacking you because you're so insecure on it. You want it validated and or invalidated right now. And even when it's invalidated, you fight and run from that. It's all psychological egoic games. They know they're bullshitting themselves and others, or they wouldn't come here. What does the Tao say? What would you say to a man who, wanted the teaching, who was in a certain state? I should pull this up. He says, I teach not mind. And then he says, I teach not self. He said, what would you say to a man who is in harmony with all things? Life on life's terms. I wouldn't tell him anything. I'd let him experience the great Tao. If you were really in touch with this force, you wouldn't find other places to go to try to convince them to be part of the experience from a defensive position. You'd show up like Watson said today. I'm so excited to share this with you that's what I'm saying. What is it you don't get? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Are you a fool? I'm like excited to show you. I'm not insecure and defensive over my position. If I was, I wouldn't show up everywhere, stand my ground, and convert motherfuckers right before people's eyes with the truth and understanding of self. I don't fight and run. I just hold my position, and then I'll break your bitch ass ego down if you want to play games. To expose the true self, to have a true faith conversation and conversion. Done it over and over again. These folks haven't done it once. Want to tell me about faith? Faith on what? Your beliefs? Show and tell. You can't.
Yeah. I mean, much of what I get from the Bible, I look at in an allegorical sense. It's a story that has divine wisdom behind it and will teach you lessons. And then I'll show where the Bible says it's an allegory. And of course, that's not what the Bible means. It doesn't mean that. But then you just use your common sense and you're like Jonah and the whale, and some guy was in a whale for how many days, fucking got spit out of the, or the whole realm was flooded, which makes no sense in a logical set of, thinking. You would realize that all the waters would mix with the salt water, all the species would die off. So obviously these things were regional events, and to them and those people in their time and their place, of course it seemed like everything, because it was everything they knew. They didn't have planes and fucking vehicles that went 100 miles an hour to go, shit. According to our history, just traveling from one end of this continent to the other, one of this country to the other, was a death sentence for many, because it was just such a hellacious fucking undertaking. So a lot of this, they try to just bring it as if you're going to take everything literal, and if you don't, you're a moron, because it's all historically accurate. The whole Bible is a historically perfect book that tells you exactly how everything was created. No, it's all allegorical. I'm not going to say everything.
Well, it's not all right.
There's genealogy, but if you look at the genealogy, it does not add up actually either. It's got a lot of errors and fucking.
I'm saying it's where these films like Zeitgeist and don't fully hit the mark. They miss the mark on the fact that it's not just allegorical. It's not just astrotheological. It's anatomical. There's a lot of right. There's a lot of elements to it that, and again, this is where a lot of the dogmatic Christians, win an argument when they bring up like Zeitgeist, for example. I can't think of a better example, but Zeitgeist definitely seemed to be something's off about Zeitgeist. it definitely seemed to be funded and kind of like a gate kept kind of a film. And of course it was heavily pushed too. It wasn't it was heavily pushed, dude. So I'd have to watch it again to really remember what all the uh, you know, failings were there, but yeah, there's something off with that film and
The
the
whole
agenda
book
behind
is
it. And
destruction and
Joseph.
rebuilding. Destruction and rebuilding. It never ends, actually. I mean, even after Jesus comes back, it's another kingdom of the Most High, peace for 1,000 years, and then, you know, hell gets loose again. The devil's on the prowl again. I mean, these are the cycles of life. You have feast and famine. It's all teaching you about the seasons. You know, that there's a time of abundance and harvest. But if you didn't do your due diligence in the time when it was winter and prepare for the spring and plant your seeds, you're not going to reap that harvest. And this goes within your intentions, your mind, within your business, your relationships, your community. And then, of course, it's an actual truth within reality. Even if you want to eat, you better prepare for the harvest. People will say it's numerology too, right? Gematria. It's fucking.
Oh yeah.
And I don't get as much into that, but I'm sure there's something there. I mean, but it seems like that code is within everything. It's not just within a certain set of sacred texts. It's not just within the Bible. People find that in the news. They find it in the, you know, the different so-called leaders of society. It all seems to have some kind of sequence or pattern that's predictable, that's playing out in all these things.
Yeah, I call it the matrix code. You know, gematria. It's kind of like, you know, there's the organic side, the inorganic side, but yeah, at the end of the day, there's always this underlying fundamental numerical, I should say, or alphanumeric, depending if you're speaking in.
I can't find that text. I got to look more for it, but you know, it's the same idea over and over again. Tao says Tao can't be spoken or told. All words are fingers pointing to the moon. Right? So all of these disciplines, all these specializations are just fingers pointing to the moon. Once you're aware the moon is there, there's nothing to point at anymore. Right? You just experience it. So this is all this talk of God. Once you have a connection with that force everyone's pointing to with their words and lack of understanding, you just experience it. You don't go to try to use all these words and point when you could just connect right to it and with it, if that makes sense. So I always know these folks don't have it just by the way they show up. They're doing the whole this. Look.
Sean's image,
like,
though.
yeah, right there.
Isn't that what he's got right in his image? He's got like the earth in the chest and he's pointing to the moon. Thought that was synchronistic.
Yeah, I mean, that's the game, right? Nostro Dean on his donkey riding around town looking for the donkey. It's an allegory. You are the thing or with the thing. You can't know it, but you can be it or be with it. So they're pointing out there and up there and look within and it's revealed. Self is self. Once you understand the mystery, true enough, there's nothing to talk about anymore. It's just experiencing with that knowing. That is true faith. Why do you need to name it to know that it's there and working with you? Once you know that, just be with it, work with it, do the next right thing, surrender the rest. It's your infidel, worldly, left brain, chimpanzee mind that has to know. I don't have to know. I'm cool with not knowing because I've decided you're not meant to know certain things. It's a true enough endeavor. You're going to be shown behind the veil enough to know that this is bigger than you, that there's a program and a simulation at play. Once you know that, ride with that. Just like pimping. Once you know that's the thing, that's the one, why are you second guessing and doubting? That's the man. That's the one. That's the thing. I've seen it over and over again. Just work with it. Walk with it. Stop second guessing, questioning, and doubting yourself and trying to create extra narratives to explain the unexplainable or seemingly unexplainable.
Yeah, I agree. There comes a point where the words are no longer necessary. They were just signposts to point you somewhere, and people use them often as a way to deceive you into some other direction that would take you outside of yourself. And that's why the church, I try not to get triggered by it, but in many sense, I sometimes do find myself defending things more than I need to, because I just know that vulnerable state. People are lost, broken, and they're seeking truth. And then, of course, they get up under the pastor, and it's to lead them outside of themselves. The pastor doesn't say, hey, it's all within you. You need to go be still, go to nature, ground yourself, talk to God directly. You don't need an intercessor, which is what Christ said. That's what he was saying. You don't need a fucking intercessor. I'm here to tell you.
True leaders lead folks back to themselves. False leaders lead you where they want you to go. Yep. Where do they want you to go? Into the arms of their system and their process and their structures and their false authorities and false claimers, of course. You're pimped and macked on again.
They want to suck off you. They want to siphon off your energy, because they know what you have in you is beautiful. And that free will, if they can drive that ship of your autonomy, I mean, that you can.
It's easier to fool slaves all day. It's easier to fool slaves than to convince them they've been fooled. They know that.
Right. That's right. And I don't think Christ ever meant to leave us in belief. That was not the point. The point was, you were slaves, so he came as a master, because a slave can't be set free but by a master. So the master came, set you free, and then he said, you're no longer my servant. We're friends. We're equals. This isn't like a I'm above you hierarchy thing. I just knew you were a slave and you need let out of the cage, so I came to let you out.
Don't they tell everyone that in these movies, like Neo? Neo goes to the Oracle. She's supposed to be the top bitch who knows it all. There's your first pimping and macking game. The person at the front of the room. We're going to go to the Oracle to find out about us. She says, you ain't the one, pal. We'll see you. Comes back later. Why the fuck did you tell me that? You're supposed to be the Oracle. She said, I knew you were the one. I had to tell you weren't, so you would find it out for yourself. It doesn't actually work unless you know it to be true for yourself and know it's within you and walking with you. If you got to believe on the Oracle or Morpheus or anyone else, we're fucked. There's times you're going to have nothing but that true faith with you in a foxhole. If you can't walk with that, it's not going to work. And that was what that is what they were basically saying, that all of them were on the Starship Enterprise, but couldn't really do what Neo was supposed to do because they didn't have enough ego to say they were the one, right? They were too humble in front of each other. They needed a motherfucker who could say, I am the one in my story, in my life. Not the only one, but I am the one that I have control over and accountability and responsibility for and with. Right? And self is self. So you're the one too, whether you know it or not. I know it. You don't. Right? And the Oracle can't tell me and no one else can tell me because they must have not found it out for themselves completely yet. This is the game. If they were the one, they wouldn't be the Oracle and Morpheus and everyone else. They'd be the main fucking character in their story. They're not. They're side characters. They're there to tell the main character more about him till he finds out more about him through dealing with them. This is the game over and over again.
Yep. That's so true.
Till you take on that perspective, you're not going to have the movement of a main character. You're a side character in the story. They call that narcissistic and egoic. I don't accept that. That's a healthy level of consciousness and true faith.
Yeah, even if you think you're a real important character, you think you're a Pharisee or a Sadducee or some kind of, royalty, bloodline, whatever you think you are that makes you better than everybody else, you're still just a fucking side character in the story because you haven't got the truth.
Yeah, but then this is where we pull back again. We pull back again because, it's the one right now in the story I'm writing. It matters because we're material, and after death or in certain situations, it falls to the side, right? Glory is fleeting, obscurity is forever. So, you're everything and nothing. You're conscious and awareness. You're no thing, right? Until you become someone, someone, like they say. Are you someone or the one? So, yeah, it's, again, a dual world where they'll say it's narcissistic what you're saying, egoic. Why? Because I'm writing a story and choosing the best outcome for myself and everyone else, which looks crazy to you because you're not doing that. And then when it's time to die, I die with dignity and humbleness before the creator and the creation because I've done all I could do. Isn't that the whole point of taking on this incarnation? To learn how to live is to learn how to die. So you live fully in order to die with dignity. You're not like my grandmother and the rest of them scrapping and scraping at the end, trying to tie up loose ends. You should have been living that way. Guess who was telling them the whole time to live that way with a needle in their arm? Me. Saying, why can't you all get in the same house, have a conversation? Why can't you put your ego bullshit aside? Why can't you talk the truth? Because I listen to both sides. You're both full of shit. Telling my father and grandmother since day one, both fighting with each other, right? Mother's side, father's side, right? So they've never gotten it. They still, a lot of them don't get it. Half of them are dead now through their own choices of what they chose to believe, worldly shit. We can't get into it because they might take us out of here. You know, I guess either you got the vision or you don't. If you're in the presence of someone with the vision and the understanding and you can feel it, go with it. That same thing that's in them that you're resonating with is in you. You just got to access it more often, I guess.
Good stuff, Paul. I got to jump off here, man, but I appreciate the conversation. Appreciate you having me up.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, Dick.
Cheers, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
What else do we got, man? Got anything, Penile Power? I'm sorry, brother, if I yelled at you during this broadcast ever. I don't know why
you better be. Fuck you, brother. Yeah, I don't bring it up a lot, but I do bring up my father a lot, but my dad was so delusional, man, towards in his planning and whatnot. In my eyes, anyway. I could be wrong, right? I'm always, one thing I'm always open for is correction, and sometimes too much so to where I'm too much maybe open to admitting fault and ignorance.
You know what I noticed you do?
I might not be ignorant on, right? I might actually know the truth on certain matters, but think I might be ignorant when I'm not. But he took his life on 3:16 for a reason, because John 3:16, for God gave his only begotten Son to not perish, for whosoever believeth in him shall have eternal life, right? Something like that. I mean, so I'm guessing in his thinking, he thought, he would get eternal life if and he wasn't into numerology or anything like that, to my knowing.
Excuse me. Cynthia wants the link again, please.
Just put it down there.
Okay.
Why don't you just pin it, man? Just pin the link and save yourself the trouble.
This is why Wizard doesn't do panels.
Yeah, spare yourself the trouble and the time and just pin the link, man.
Penile Power, we can sit around all day finding either meaning in the meaninglessness or, meaninglessness in the inherent meaning. None of that is going to change who and what you are now and moving forward and where you get in your life, right? So people make choices sometimes. There most likely either is a reason or we can create a reason or find a reason. And I've said this to you before. I can't reconcile and square all the things logically that have happened with my mother and other people in my life. I don't need to, because I'm here now having this experience, choosing this experience. This experience is preferable to sitting around wondering why shit I couldn't and can't control now happened. That's a worrying, sorrowful space, right? It's a space of regret. That means you're unthankful and ungrateful. So you have to really look at how we're being selfish, unthankful, and ungrateful. If you tell me that stuff happens for a reason and a meaning, then that means you should be doing more with yourself in this life because you're aware there's a program. If you're not doing that, you're saying, I know, but I won't do and be. And that's bad karma, right? And, we've talked about this before. Bro, I'm not like starting a parade over working. But I've told you, I think you need somewhere to be and something to do other than this metaverse. You've said that to me, so I'm just telling you back what you told me because I'm a good friend like that. I'm going to support you in what you need to do for you, even if I could let you do less, like you let yourself, like we all do sometimes. So, I'm sure, again, it's not about the things necessarily. It's about creating a space inside yourself where you feel good about your life, even if it is going to be on here. I don't think I've ever seen you go to the next level. And what I mean by that is take even the broadcasting thing seriously.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure you and Christos and everybody else spend a whole bunch of fiat that you don't earn and somehow get tricking on bitches, pimping and playing somehow. I don't know what you're up to.
Nah.
You're probably spending a whole bunch on stuff other than laptops and microphones and whatever. If you're going to do this thing, because you're on here a lot and you're doing your own channels and your own form of broadcasting, I'm not going to judge it. I don't even really look at it a lot because I don't want a judgment on it. You're going to do what you do. I'm going to do what I do. If we could work together at some point when I see certain things, which I have seen certain things, but there's a, you're not past this you're not past the past, right? You've not let go of this father situation that you have, and certain things. I see it coming up over and over again in you, and I see it hanging on you day to day. Right? Just the way that you show up constantly. And tell me if I'm wrong. This thing is hanging on you. And you're going to have to release it and let it go. And I think part of that process is going to be creating a forward movement in your life, whether it be on the metaverse here with broadcasting or whether it be in your own life. And I think it's more healthy for you where you're at to do it in life than on the metaverse.
Yeah, I mean, I think both are, you don't have to choose one or the other,
You don't have to. You don't have
both
to.
in my case, and in everyone's case. I don't think anybody should be on here all the time, every day, and I don't think you are. So I think once you get off of here, I would hope that you get out there. So people see you here all the time, and they, I assume that it's your whole life. But when you
Power, you have to understand that people don't know me because they don't know themselves and they don't listen to what I tell them. I'm not on here playing footsie and fucking off. It's become a different thing at a certain point. I came on here for truth, spiritual faith, rights, principles, freedom. This wasn't my life. I brought my life where it was on here, right? That became a way to make a living doing what I love to do and what I'm apparently good at. That's living the dream. I can afford to be on here all day. Other than the effects it's going to have to my body and my beingness as I perceive that. So other folks don't have that luxury to say that. They're on here wasting their time, energy, attention. They're not making a living. They're not able to reinvest back in themselves and others. They're not able to co-create because they're not building the house. They're not growing the food. They're using fiat in their life to get everything, and they don't have a source of that. Right? So you could say money ain't everything. I didn't say it was. You could say it's not about the money, but apparently all the folks on here need it and use it and have few skills and trades, if any, to produce the things they're getting with the fiat. So we could fuck off and play games with ourselves and each other, or we could really be real with ourselves and each other. The same people on here saying the numbers and the fiat don't matter are the same persons now putting all types of ways to donate in their fucking link down there like I do, because they need to make a living and they don't like what they do, a lot of them. And a lot of them aren't even fucking good at what they do. They just show up to get a check and do as little as possible for themselves and others. It's pathetic. So they're not me. And you can't let them tell you who and what I am. And they can't let you think that either about yourself. So again, when they can come on here out of a tent with an Android, produce a following and an audience, hold that following and audience and grow it, turn it into a living where they're doing better than they were working at a corporation for voluntary support without selling their soul or anything else, you let me know, because I'm not seeing it. And they're fucking pissed that I'm doing it. That should tell you everything you need to know. I'm doing something they either can't or won't. They could, but they won't. If they would, they could, but they can't. So now they got to hate on me because they're not. Should tell you everything you need to know. Did Wes Watson not say the same thing pretty much? By the time I was succeeding, it wasn't about the money. I started in prison. Money ain't there. All you got is self-respect there. He started with that. He's continuing with that, according to him. I have my own version of that, right? These motherfuckers keep pointing at his shit and his money, pocket watching. They don't understand he can't do what he does if he was about the money. has to be about self-respect, self-worth, self-esteem, self-growth, self-process. If not, the money and the things don't even matter. Once you have the process, the money and the things don't matter. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, really, but it's perfect because you can't do what I do or what he does and be in love with money. It's numbers on a screen that lead to a transaction that start with true value and true resource, which is self. Once you know that, there is no other toxic relationship or belief about what this fiat and the rest of it is. These are just forms of value and power that come forth when you are in the flow and who you need to be. That's why I say, I don't understand why Antoine leads with chase the bag unless he's trying to be a fisherman of men and hook the slaves with something catchy like he says, okay, I'll accept it. But I need to hear more of that whole let the bag chase you. Are you more valuable than the fiat, or is the fiat more valuable than you? Because I thought the power flows one way. If you are the value, the fiat should flow to you. If you're chasing the fiat, you're basically saying to the universe and God, the fiat is more valuable than you. That's blasphemy. So they're saying that I'm blasphemous and I'm satanic when I'm telling you, if you're embodying that, you should have everything that thing embodies. You think God is wanting for fiat? I doubt it. We know the devil ain't. Devil's got all of it, most of it, it seems. Right? God ain't wanting for fiat. God's people seem to be, because they're confused and divided from that power, that force in that way. This is what I see as true success. Spiritual faith that leads to true success in the world while not being of the world, in your consciousness and your beingness. It's exactly what the truthers need right now because they got a toxic relationship with fiat and value and power. So much so they're losing their fiat property rights, power, and value.
And doing information as opposed to living it.
Right. Once you live your information, there's very little else to do. There's no point talking about numbers and all the rest of it. You only do that when you're not living the truest information. When you're living the truest information, all the other shit is just extras. It's just more proof of the original concept. Numerology, great. Proof of original concept. Mandala effect, great. In a way, proof of original concept. There's something bigger going on here. We're in touch with it. We're part of it. Wherever it's going to go, we can't control. We can only control ourselves till we get there.
Well said, as usual.
Well, one of the best ways of learning how to do things right for once is learn how to do them all the wrong ways. So I did plenty of time doing that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Oh. I'm trying to tip the scale in the other direction. Currently, I'm about halfway. I think I'm right in the middle on the balancing beam. So, starting to try to tip on the other direction.
Right. I mean, that makes sense to you, right? That like you could go to work and learn to love what you do and make it about the process of loving whatever it is that you do in yourself and caring for yourself rather than about the numbers on the screen. Numbers on the screen are just going to be an expression of that process. So you do the process, you get the value and the power, right? And again, like I said, I take it the other way. First, you get the self-respect, then you get the power connected with the universe and communion, then you get the money. So it's the opposite of Scarface, right?
Right.
You know, that's inversion land. They're always gonna bring you into the world and make you of it. Oh, first you get the money, Chico, then you get power, worldly power, then you get the respect. Yeah, so then they can come along, take your money, in which case take your power and then take your respect. They can take my money, they can't take my power and respect. I can go anywhere and be who and what I am and influence the field, as they say.
Yeah, I saw him in the chat earlier. He Axis. He left a pretty interesting comment that almost sounded Christian idealist kind of leaning. It was, again, maybe he was brought up that way. It would explain his current. It would explain a lot, really, and why he maybe turned the other way.
I'm not focused on these people in chat today with all their chatterings. I'm over it. Come up on the panel or you barely even exist to me. That's my new mode nowadays. Tired of it.
I'll be right back in a minute.
A lot of these folks been here over and over again. They've said all the predictable shit. They said all the things that we know that they think they know. And they're just never want to come up here and say what's really in their mind and heart. What they think about me, Wizard, Penal Power, this broadcast, their fucking life, state of affairs. They never want to get right down to it. Where they come from, where they're going. Not never. It's just far and few between, right? Not nice enough, Wizard. That's what it is. Not really a likable and nice guy. That's what they say. I'm not really that loving either, they say. Very egoic and narcissistic.
Yeah, I have a different view on that, kind of like you. I see what people are, and I love them for who they are, and I hate them for what they do. You know, that's the thing. It's the things that we do to each other, and I include myself in that because, again, I'm not perfect, and I've done a lot of things against people that I really didn't want to.
So I took that to the next level. I was at that point, and I go, this is causing me problems. I'm going to flip the script again. I don't hate people, and I don't hate them for what they do. I love them for what they do because what I've been revealed is it allows me to do what I do. If it weren't for them doing what they do, I couldn't do what I do. So I almost am thankful and grateful for all the sick, twisted, disturbing, hateful, infidel behavior because I'm aware of my own psychology. Don't we all want to justify our own existence and beingness with some purpose and meaning, huh? Right? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I guess everything is as it should be, no?
Yep. But again, that's it's not the people that I hate. It's the things that we do. So whether you're an angry person or a very joyful person, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to love you. I put that anger and all those emotions aside, and I look at the things that we do, and I determine, again, that's that thing. If you're going to come to me with the true spirit of God, I'm going to see it in your actions.
I guess you have to get really philosophical. If there wasn't evil here and there wasn't a constant source of push, pull, mind control, heart control, slavery, in a way you could say, there really wouldn't be much to do here. You know? Almost like a self-generating hologram movie.
Well, it would be a paradise for people like Jack Talcott. Nothing to do. Perfect plan.
Ironically, even with all the slavery and genocide, once you have true enough and you're on record with that over and over again, you're back to not really much to do, you know, other than live your life properly, do whatever your work and trade is, generate different sources of value and power in the world, and practice not being attached to that and allowing that to define who and what you are and your future. And that leads me, Wizard, and then I'm going to get back to you. That leads me to now the promotion, non-promotion of the grift, non-grift. 140 go. We're at 92 left. With a donation of 10 pieces of floor ply, you get a chance to finally be a winner in your life if you haven't already been one. You know, Wizard, a lot of these citizen slaves, the ones that you wrote up that leash law for, they got a horrible past. Being loser failures, right? I would know it. I was one. Takes one to know one, right? Right. So now we finally found a way on the metaverse to give these folks the experience of being winners. So, 10 pieces of floor ply gets you entrance and possible 10x return. That's better than Catcoin. Ask Aluma slavery. He's trying to come up on 30% every day. He's hitting them buttons. I can catch 30% here, 30%. If you can 10x off 10, that's a good day. So go ahead, Tau Stock 2.0, Reefer Madness, Grift Non-Grift. Best event ever in history, some folks might say. Thoughts on any of that or your own thoughts? Thoughts on previous thoughts?
Well, I was going to say that was one of the reasons I was comfortable with quitting the sales and marketing that I started out with in my younger life. is because I knew I was a industrious young man and I could do anything I wanted to. I just had to learn it. So for me, my entire life, getting another job was never a problem. It was keeping the damn thing.
Yeah, well, it's hard to keep a job when you're interested in keeping yourself intact, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
I found the same resistance there. I'm like, I want to keep myself. You cool with that? Nah, one of the prerequisites is we're going to need you to be a divided state of beingness. Got it. I don't know if this is the place for me.
A little story about a job I had over here at the Northland oil factory. And I was trying to move up in the ranks, just like always, you know. But they had this maintenance guy there, and his name was Willie, redheaded kid. And he was a younger guy, and he had this temper problem. And when he got mad, he would start throwing shit. And I'm standing there on the production line one day, and he starts throwing shit. One of them wrenches come flying up, almost hit me. And I fucking went off on him. And the manager, the floor manager, come over, want to know what the problem was. I said, this motherfucker keeps throwing them tools. I'm going to make a claim against this fucking oil plant. You need to keep your fucking employees in line and teach them how to do the job appropriately.
You've done that.
Yeah.
Now you want to threaten the whole organization. See, Wizard? Now that's where you're wrong. You gotta go to them and you gotta talk to them. You've learned this at court after 94 fucking times, I hope now by now. You gotta be diplomatic. You gotta go to them and say, listen, you bond with them. Well, you and I know that slaves need to be kept in order. Let me tell you what this guy just did. You can't threaten them.
Well, no,
that's threaten to do the hit on them.
Check this out. The floor manager said, well, you're just
pulls a gun on everyone. Pulls a gun on everyone.
Get this. The floor manager said, well, you just have to learn how to deal with it, right? Gotcha. So for the next 24 hours during the rest of that shift and the next shift the next day, every time I saw this guy, I called him a fucking bitch to his face.
That's not what he meant.
No, it is. It is.
That's not what he meant by deal with him.
I was standing there with the plant manager and the floor manager when he come up and started talking to us. Shut it! Started talking to us, and you fucking bitch. The floor manager and the plant manager both looked at me like, what the hell was that all about? I said, well, according to Dave here, the floor manager, he said, I had to learn how to deal with this guy because he was throwing tools. Now, if you want to lose me over as an employee, I'd rather you lose me because I call him a fucking bitch than me losing an eye and can't work for you anymore.
No.
Yeah, they took that into hand, and they guess what? They promoted me to mechanic.
Well, you got lucky on that one.
I did. But that's what I'm talking about. There are many instances in my life like that where I push the buttons and I push it to the limit and I use reason and logic behind it. You told me I had to just learn how to deal with him. This is how I'm dealing with him because you won't.
Mo Marquez, 2 tickets to Paradise, Talstock 2.0, the Grift Non-Grift, the best event non-event ever. And of course, Wizard is promoting non-promoting his second channel, as we know.
Hey, I gave you 5 likes today, brother.
5 likes. Like I give a fuck, right? That and $1 get me on the bus, right?
My personalities are growing.
Man, these fucking raffle tickets are going fast, Wizard Creature. And they said that I was poor and broke and a grifter. How could you be poor and broke and a grifter? So then what you're saying is I'm really bad at grifting. Well, you learned today that ain't true. You know, I've been grifting so hard since last night voluntarily. I didn't even promise anybody anything other than me and Talcott on 100 milligram of edibles. Best marketer and promoter ever. Just no investment. These folks can learn a thing or two from me. You know, you sell any bullshit product or service, you're really selling yourself. I don't have to sell myself. I just have to show up for myself and others, and the rest seems to fall into place. So again, they could learn a thing or two. They don't want to. They want to yell at me. Call me poor and broke. Call me a grifter. I'm proving them wrong. All overnight. See, Wizard, how I love to play games? A year and a half in, I finally said, you're going to keep calling me poor and broke and a grifter? I'm owning both hats. I'm so poor and broke, and I'm going to grift non-grift.
Well, that's what I say. Put all the laundry out there. Let everybody smell it and everything. Now they already know. Can it get any worse?
Right. Now, I guess there's no need to ever come here and say I'm poor and broke because I disprove that. And you can't say I'm a grifter because I disprove that. I don't need to grift. I could just tell people, hey, I'm going to eat edibles with Talcott. Could you pay for that? And they go, yeah, not a problem. Hello? Is my life not the best life ever in this moment? It could change tomorrow. This could all go away. I'm thankful and grateful. You know, it's specifically because I'm thankful and grateful that I'm not ambitious like the rest of these people to have what I think I don't have. I have everything I need and then some. I have an amazing audience. Amazing audience. This audience is amazing and they do amazing things. One of the amazing things they're going to do and be part of is Talstock 2.0. Amazing event. I'm doing a little bit of Eric Trump promotion. You pull up this voice. Aaron's a fan of this voice. Jack Talcott's a fan of this voice. All the folks who are really loving. Amazing people. These loving people are a fan of this voice. We look forward to seeing you, Penal Power, and your family. Please contact your family. I know you can't afford to come to Talstock, and we don't accept anything else. We probably know you got things, amazing things around the house that you want to trade in. Things you think have value. Get you into Talstock. No, we don't take that. We only take foreplay. Jackie Fox is here. How are you, Jackie Fox?
I'm good. How are you, Paul?
I'm well, ma'am. Hold on. Let me check the stats here. 90. All right.
You're doing great.
That's it. Talstock 2.0 said to be by some folks one of the greatest events in modern day history.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be about. I think you'll get about 3 more days. You're going to get there. I think it might be the 4th of July extravaganza.
Right. Well, you know, the faster that these folks show their support for Jack Talcott, really, and Talstock 2.0, faster they get that done, the faster we can put a specific time and place into motion. Talcott, excuse me, is already ready. He's Talstocked. And he's ready to go, right? He said he's got ready. Even more than he's got 500 milligrams of edibles. So we're coming in for 100. Talcott's going to pop 500, go out of his fucking mind, probably get us canceled because I suspect he's going to do something really creepy and bizarre. That's what I'm hoping for, I guess. In a way.
I know we're hoping, and then I'm thinking it just might be just a regular day in Jack's life. We don't know.
Well, that's the thing. They know what they're contributing for, right?
Yeah.
They know that when we take the initial 100, that I'm probably going to take more, and I'm going to encourage Talcott.
Yeah.
And I'm probably, I might not pretend to take more and convince him to do it, and then get
and
him
then
all,
not.
Yeah. And then get him all reefed out, and get him to get naked and run around the lawn. You know, these are sick, twisted people. A lot of the audience, and they want to see Talcott do something he regrets. / not regrets, right? He'll say he regrets it, but really, you know, it's like a subconscious purge. He needs that. He needs to rub his knees, get naked, run around the grass, roll around, just laugh hysterically, let it all go, and then come back down to baseline.
I could so see that. So the real reason I came up was because I was honestly, seriously convicted earlier, a couple times today, because of a couple people you had on, because I started drinking again about a month ago. And so I quit, for probably a month and a half, maybe. And it's creeping back in again. And then I got convicted listening today. So I just wanted to come up and share that because just like you, I'm about the radical authenticity. That's Josh and I have this board at home, marker board, and we have a lesson of the week. And so we change it every week, and then we talk about it with the girls and what things mean. And so he happened to put on there this week, radical authenticity. So I don't know. I just want to come up and share that.
Yeah, I mean, you folks might find upon reflection in alone time, presuming you have that. A lot of folks on here don't seem like they're ever alone for any prolonged period of time. You might find that a lot of these people that you're around that you may love and care for are not the best for where we need to go, what we need to do for ourselves. So I don't know that one way or the other. I see a lot of talking. I see a lot of observed reporting. I see a lot of feedback looping. I don't see folks on their own path with their own process that they're applying and getting results, because what that looks like is very few people, if any, getting the opportunity to tell you about what your life is, should be, isn't. Like away from here, I don't even know what that is. When they'll say I'm self-absorbed, I'm self-centered. No, I'm centered in self. I don't need that. I'm not wanting for that. So you got a lot of folks who are needy and wanting. They seem to be codependent. Everybody they bump into is a best friend for life. They never get time alone exploring themselves, their path, their purpose, and how to be independent in order to learn to be interdependent without being codependent, if that makes sense.
Right. And that's something I've really had to learn, because I've always been very dependent on everybody around me. So this is like the first time in my life, even though, I'm with Josh and we live together, this is the first time I've kind of even embodied any sense of my own self-development.
But that's the thing. He probably needs that too. And I didn't want to speak on it, what I've observed, the little I've observed.
Yeah.
But he probably needs that. You attract who and what you are, or those who are in need of who and what you are, those who may have answers for who and what you are and may yet to become. So, like when you observe this, okay, I've been codependent all my life. I haven't taken a lot of alone time, or I don't have a alone process. I need that. He needs that.
Right.
So it's not, and then again, that's when all the triggers are going to come up, the fear of loss and abandonment, the insecurities, the enabling, all of it's going to show itself. That's when you have to detach more. See, this is the problem. This is the thing. We can't do this. I did it with her. I do it with everyone I deal with. Practice the detachment. See if you're not better off for it by the end. See if you don't come back with a more present, aware sense of clarity and self, and able to be love able, right? You're exemplifying that you're love able. This is like, and then the folks will say, I could observe myself and know everything they're going to say, right? And I could even argue it. I'll play the devil's advocate, argue against myself. Paulie's detached and depersonalized from others and doesn't empathize. Another trait of narcissism. It's not true. Ask anyone who deals with me, my firsthand experience with folks. I'm so present and aware and able to respond with them and love them where they are, not where they want to be or don't want to be, where they are to where they need to go. Right? It's just the adequate amount. Better to pour and stop pouring than to keep pouring and overflow the cup. These folks want to pour love and pour and be poured on. Enough is enough. Get back to your center and balance. Get back to your purpose and meaning in your process. Focus on yourself. Nurture others by allowing them to nurture and focus on themselves. Lead yourself and them where you need to go, not where you all want to go. It's gotten you back on the same loops every time. When you're not overpouring and loving, you're overpouring and loving at the bar. Right? Because you're codependent. You have to find a space of beingness and a relationship with self that works with the relationship with other selves. And it's not being around each other all the time, checking in with each other. This, push, pull. You know what I'm talking about. Right? When you're where you need to be and the beings where they need to be, everything flows where it needs to go, or it doesn't go there. And then it flows on its own. Right? Like water. It comes together to flow when it needs to. It parts ways and then comes back. There's no want or not want in that. And you know where you're at when you're there with yourself and the being. So follow that. It's always going to tell you. We just want to ignore it because we want to keep the status quo, because we love people. Right? Love the truth. Love your life. Love the process. Love your fate or your destiny. And then make the next right choice for yourself and others. Watch the results.
Yeah, I find when I tend to, I see it more when I tend to go into the loops. And the past couple weeks, I've been looping a lot. And that was kind of when the issues begin to arise again. And then, the drinking, which is, on the days that I'm off, it might be 5 or 6 just drinks, not hard liquor, but drinks. And then it starts to increase.
So
again.
when are you anxious?
it's not even anxious. It's like for me, it's like a pastime and a relaxation. And I know
so there's never a time when you're anxious and unfulfilled and not as peaceful as you could be, restless.
Yeah. I think as I'm so busy, it's like as soon as I get a minute where I feel like I have time that I can like be to myself for a minute, then that's when I want to, open up a drink.
Right. So you do the whole thing where you create things you have to do to avoid dealing with yourself. And then when you have to deal with yourself, you create a solution, non-solution.
Yeah. Then I want to drink.
Yeah. So
but
again,
I did so
your
good
career is not a part of yourself. It's taking you away from yourself.
Right.
So, and again, because you said this, I always, oftentimes, all I have to do, like what imagine a good psychiatrist does is I just listen to what you all tell me. And then I speak it back to you and you go, wow. I go, yeah, you told me you have to get out of there and away from it. So you're going to something you have to get away from to avoid the one thing you can't get away from, which is self. That doesn't make any sense. And of course, you're going to be anxious and unfulfilled. And then when you have time to rest, you can't rest and you're going to go into depression because you didn't do what you needed to do to avoid the anxiety. The other side of anxiety is depression. That's why most people have a dual diagnosis, anxiety, depression. Isn't that interesting? Because you're not doing what you're supposed to when you have the energy and you're restless. Then when you're supposed to be resting, you're restless because you've not done what you're supposed to, which makes you depressed or having to quell that restlessness, right? So you're going to depress yourself. Alcohol is a depressant. You want to bring your nervous system down. There's a practice and a process and a way of where everything will work for itself in a different way. Will it be perfect? Maybe not, but it'll be better than what you're experiencing. That's what my report is firsthand.
Yeah, I did good for that month and a half, whenever I first started listening to you, and then it kind of just, one day led into another, and then I was just back at it again. So I'm just tired of it. It's been my whole life.
That's the thing, is that listening to me can be part of the inspiration and motivation, but then you have to find a way to take what you've heard from me and create the process for yourself of inspiration and motivation. All right. Whether that's like text you go to in the morning, whether that's exercises you do, candles you light, incense, whatever you need to do, yoga, again, that's a self process. There's no time for Josh and Jackie because Josh has his morning process. Jackie has hers. We don't need to be up under each other and in each other's face and texting this person and that person. I don't make myself available to people. You're not taking my peace with your insanity. So I have my morning process, whatever I deem that to be. It's mine. I'm going to work that. It works for me. I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. I'll tell her the same thing. My process may drive her insane. That's why it's mine, not hers. Go find your own. It might not be the same, right? Might be the same, might not be. That's okay too. The point is we're practicing detachment and independence in order to avoid codependence, to find completion with each other we can't find with ourselves, apparently. If you can find it with yourself, we don't need or want anything with each other other than to share time, energy, attention, and experience and love. So, you know it when you're there. Just like they say, how do you know when you're in love? You just know. How do you know when you've attained a certain level of completion? You just know. If you don't know, you're not there. So you really should not be spending this much time, energy, attention with other beings who are not on that path or there. Because there's no point. It's distraction. Do not neglect your work for another's work. And most folks are not doing their own work. They want to entertain themselves and each other with whatever they're doing and going on. You don't have that luxury. Entertainment is a luxury for someone who has some level of completion. True enough. Their life is manageable and functional. Get the results that they're looking for. If not, entertainment is a distraction and a detraction from that work. Exactly what these folks want in and of the world. Go find love and entertain yourself and each other out of your own completion and self-work. I think it's a deception. A being who's in true love doesn't need to find one other being to find completion. This is the deception. They just share love with whoever's love able. If not, they just do what they do with themselves. It's a choice. So folks want to be disempowered to love because they think it's romantic. It's not cute and romantic to me. It's pathetic.
So let's get back to Sean. Where's my brother at?
Sean, she's getting uncomfortable and awkward, and she wants to focus on you now. Will you be willing to be the sacrificial lamb?
Yeah.
You by any chance catch any of Dan earlier?
Yeah, that was part of my thing. Dan and
I meant to bring it up.
Tell me.
Right. Yeah, him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I wasn't aware that you're going through that, but Talcott clip collection, Mr. Evan, not to give away his full secret identity, but he reminded me of a good point that I meant to bring up earlier, but I forgot to. But in the program and in the rooms, AA, NA, and then when you go to treatment, I recall one time there was this lady and she had a phraseology, if you will, about something in the book that mentions restless, irritable discontent. And I'm pretty sure it was her. She would say you have to get rid, RID, you have to get rid of RID, restless, irritable discontent, which of course works by, they would say working the program. But again, I never fully worked the program myself. I never got through the 12 steps. Had a couple sponsors and whatnot, and never fully worked the program. Didn't need to, apparently, because here I am today, and I'm fully sober. So it just doesn't really attract.
I don't accept your characterization. I know that you got a big ego. You think I have one too. Maybe I do. It's always the folks who didn't get what they needed out of the program who didn't need to work the program. You're telling me you're sober when on some level you're so addicted to the metaverse that it's allowed your life to become unmanageable.
Good point.
That's the cornerstone of addiction.
Good point.
So you need to understand addiction expresses itself in many different ways. Right? Sexual, food. And then we could turn the mirror on me. We can play the game about me because I know everyone wants that. We could do that one day. Everyone get around me and let me tell you where I've fallen short in my life so you can feel better about you.
I mean, you could say that we both need MA. People could say you need Marijuana Anonymous. I need Mangoes Anonymous. You know what I mean? So, and I've been at the point where
I don't. You're doing it again. You're doing it again. There's other places where my addiction probably expresses more in a way that I wouldn't say makes my life unmanageable. But
it was a poor joke, an attempt at a poor joke. But
no, just I'll tell you how to do the hit on me better in private, and then you can unveil it tomorrow. Marijuana doesn't make my life unmanageable. You could argue marijuana is a way that I manage my life, which is extremely insane and chaotic ever since I started a broadcast, especially. Not that I wasn't like already in a space of like thinking I'm so conscious and aware that it's kind of hard to achieve reconciliation with the majority of people, places, and things, seeing the huge disconnect in understanding and application. So maybe that's my ego, right? Maybe I'm making excuses. I have physical pains that I reach for the reefer, all the time. I could tell on some level that's part of it. There might be many aspects to it. It doesn't make my life unmanageable. Like I'm sitting here smoking reefer constantly. It's a part of my broadcast at this point and my online identity, whatever that is. So you could argue it adds in a way to some people. It's a source of contention, which adds again, because now I'm a weed smoking gorilla and they're going to tell me I'm not shit because of that. We get to have more discussions on what that is. Right? I mean, you could then argue that the reefer with the tobacco, smoking so much of it, and whatever else I've been a part of in my life has probably damaged my lungs and is making it worse. So it may soon make my life unmanageable or less than desirable. Maybe it already has because my breathing's not as good as it could be. I get headaches from time to time, either from this screen or because the air is polluted, and or because I may have a form of emphysema in a way where I'm not getting all the air and oxygen in my blood, and it's causing, we could go on and on and on. But day to day, as far as like my relationships, myself and others, my ability to ascertain reality and to help others, myself, my ability to make a living, doing what I love to do, that's a big part of it for me. Maybe that's my problem. My father always told me growing up, if you could do what you love to do, make a living at it, that's the American dream. He didn't do that ever. So maybe I'm caught up on some, Oedipus-like complex where I want to outdo my father and prove to myself and him in the world that, I could be successful in a way that he couldn't. Again, you have to be honest with yourself, if not anyone else, and say, what in my life is making my life unmanageable? Is this an addiction? If I was to change it, would I get way better results? And then Can I talk to you? Tell me, because I thought we had a great conversation earlier. Now it seems he's been back to hating this whole broadcast. And I'm going to wrap up. I meant to wrap up earlier. Wow, we've just been flying through time here. You're telling me, hold on a second. I got to check something. There's no way, people. Gosh. Man, Jack already went live an hour and a half ago and he already terminated it. He only did 35 minutes. All right. Well, I meant to go over there and we were just so in the flow, in the groove, that we blew it right by. When you're on the highway and you're smoking good reefer, not that I do that while I'm moving property, of course, that'd be illegal and unlawful. Maybe, possibly, maybe not. Actually, no, it's not, but it'd be illegal. Of course, nowadays I got a license, registration, insurance. I got it all. I got like 46 different types of cards and identifications. I'm the most productive citizen nowadays. And I'm working on becoming a federal agent. Power, I just want to let you know, I didn't start off as a CIA, Mason, agent, or any of that, but by the time we're done, I think I'm going to be one. It's just, I've had enough interaction with the public to know that this is pretty much fruitless and hopeless on the whole. I can still work with people time to time individually, but, why not make a drastic career move? So I went and got all the licenses, registration, insurance, and plates. I got it all. I got all types of credit cards, all other types of contracts. And now I'm looking into being part of United States Corporation, because I see a lot of folks who need governance, and I want to be part of that. I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Go ahead, sir.
Cuckbody and EBT were on panel last night, and they were playing a clip of you, of course.
Right.
And of course, I dropped in right as they started talking about you, because I rewinded it 10 seconds, and they weren't talking about you. I literally I don't have a timestamp, but it was for you. What was it? Maybe like several days ago when that new guy came on. He was kind of like out in the swampy, marshy. That guy, I forget his name. And you brought up how
they're sitting around all day waiting for me to say something so they can clip it out of context and try to character assassinate me. They're the most pathetic form of scum, and I give them everything they need, and still it goes nowhere. So just keep talking about me and promoting me. You're too just either foolish and or disingenuous that you would know that I'm not really saying what you're saying I'm saying, and you want to make it seem like that because you want to undo me. So go ahead and keep taking shit out of context, bit non bits, putting them forth as real statements. It shows you to be of bad character, bad faith, and disingenuous. You just convict yourselves. Every time you guys tangle with me, you just wind up convicting yourselves in front of the eyes of the creational force. And I just laugh. I go, you dumb slave. I should go work for the federal corporation, right? And just work for God with that costume on and really fuck your mind and heart up, right? I don't even need to do anything other than come in the room. You all convict yourselves time and time again, spiritually and legally and lawfully, time and time again. All right. So we go to court to establish what? What's the two or three principles, the main foundations? Honor and good faith and proof of claim. Honor, good faith, and proof of claim. You don't prove your claims. You stand in dishonor because you take bit non-bits out of context and put them forth as true statements, knowing they're false. You're disingenuous. And good faith. You don't believe that there's a creational force that's going to hold you accountable, so the court has to. So you're dishonorable, you're false claimer, you're an infidel, you're bad faith. That's how you lose a court every time. That's how I keep walking out and keep talking. Doesn't matter about policy and code. It's advisory for folks who can't govern themselves inherently based on inherent power and hierarchical value systems, which are encoded in the law and then re-encoded and remixed in the codes. So there's inherent law, there's written law, there's policy and code, and it all funnels back to the same inherent idea of beingness, who and what we are as a man or woman. So you're an idiot. You can't tango with me. Every time you folks do, you create your own undoing. You convict yourself on record in front of the universe and the creational force, and you convict yourself on record with the court of public opinion and the legal lawful court. So it's just so easy to run roughshod all over you and your ego, get you all hemmed up, caught up, rethinking your position in life and what you were going to do to me, you know? So yeah, I love playing this ego game now. I don't, day to day, I have little to no ego as I see it. Folks around me report pretty much the same thing. They're almost shocked when they see me on here. Right? When I come on here, I embody that. I'm like administrator. I love fucking with people's ego on here. Right? I love, like the Tao says, making those who know celebrate and rejoice. Those who think they know question their whole existence. It's a fun game that I play. So I come on here, you're never really quite sure what it is that I'm doing. It's only till you're halfway in that you realize you shouldn't have interfered with what it is that I'm doing. And by the time it's over, you wish you never did because you've convicted yourself and you'll never work in this town, as I've said, ever again. That was the phrase they used to say in broadcasting. You'll never work in this town again. What makes you think anybody's going to respect you or think you're credible or listen to anything you fucking have to say, talking about anyone or anything when you've come on record as bad faith, false claim, dishonorable? I wouldn't. So there'll be plenty of slaves who probably will, slaves like you, in which case your consequence is having to live out your choices. You'll be with yourself and people like you for the rest of your life. You'll have to deal with that. I won't have that problem. We have very different problems nowadays. Majority of folks on here and myself, very different set of problems. Very different set of solutions. Your thoughts, Penal Power and Wizard. I guess we wrap it up. We've pretty much ran this train off the tracks for one day, it would seem. Hello?
Yeah, it was just funny. It was funny because not to bring up fucking Drew again, but he literally fell asleep on the on the stream. He had somehow had 50-something people watching him snoring, literally snoring on panel.
Yeah. The guys who don't do drugs, don't drink alcohol, fall asleep on panel. Then they talk about my weed usage. 7 days a week, I'm on panel. 6, 8, 10, 12. I did a 19-hour broadcast. Never did that. Right? Smoking reefer the whole time. These folks ain't on nothing and they're completely incompetent. They show up once a week and fall asleep on panel. I don't blame you. Your shit's so fucking boring. And just, lackluster. And surrounded by loser failures who take over. No wonder you fell asleep on your own fucking panel. I would. Why do you think I keep talking? To avoid from falling asleep or going into a frustrated rage at the complete incompetence?
Yeah, they're mostly running the same story that the general mass news media is.
Trannies threatening everyone's lifestyle. Right.
Yeah, that's what they're using for their material, and when that's not good enough, they've got to find somebody like Paul to make more material to draw
someone who's doing way better than them in life is what you're saying.
To draw people to their platform to bore them.
Hey, how many tickets did we sell overnight? Can we do the math on that so they can keep calling me a poor broke grifter?
And with that, God bless everybody. I love you. You know the rest. I got to go, and we'll see you later.
Where are you going?
I got a class I got to go do.
All right. Well, one of these days, I'm going to have to show up to one of these classes and really fucking light it on fire somehow and let you throw me out. I'll give you an opportunity to throw me out, curse me out.
I don't know if you'll be able to do that. there's a meeting Saturday with Derek Gonzalez and a few other people. If you remember the year and a half Zoom, the never ending Zoom. Yeah.
The never ending Zoom.
Yeah. So, and it's material that's usually way above everybody else's head because we're dealing with back office stuff with the banking system and all that. So you're welcome to attend. I'll see if I can get a link for you, but otherwise, it's usually by invite only.
It's on Facebook.
It's like, hey, bro, you ain't invited. He's like giving me the treatment now. He's like, hey, bro,
no,
this is
not
big thing.
It's from them. It's their class. So, But
anyway. Yeah,
I'm
so like narcissistic and caught up in my own ego nowadays. I'm not going to go anywhere and learn from anyone anyway, right? It's only till I go to jail again I'll be calling you up. Hey, Wizard, can I get some of that U.S. code about banking again? Could you send me a custom stamp because I might want to write a letter.
There you go. There you go.
Send me a few of those.
I'll be the one. So anyway, God bless. Love you. Have a good day.
Hey, we love you, Wizard. We appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. You too.
Aaron Spiegel, the now drunkard of the town, is what they've now put on you. The folks in chat.
Yeah. Apparently, I need an exorcism. Yeah. Salty. I don't even know Salty, except she's on my nuts for some reason. She doesn't like my hat. I have like 15 of these hats, and the reason I do is because they're black and they're light, so I can work in them, sweat, and then switch them out.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not drunk. I very rarely get drunk, but I have gotten drunk on the panel for sure because I'm sitting here for so goddamn long while I'm sitting here sipping on drinks. So that's happened. But typically, I don't get drunk. I get, change of state, I would say.
I want Rob Cleveland to come up more and insult people.
Yeah.
Why is it that he doesn't do that more often? I enjoy that. Just very matter of fact with that monotone way. You're boring and inept. He starts doing me in a way. He starts using the words he hears here all day, every day. I wind up rubbing off on people, right? So then I start hearing Cleveland do his own version of me, but it's funny. It's not like when O'Shea and everyone else do it. When he does it, it's kind of endearing, but we have a special relationship. So maybe I have a soft spot in my heart for Cleveland.
Yeah. He's your African American.
Maybe it's because you're really boring and inept. He's just like, that's my favorite. I don't mind when him and other people do me in their own way. All right. See, that's where I don't mind when Rob Cleveland does me. Yeah. It's when they like try to do me and pretend they're not and then go, this is really real right now. This is me. It's just them doing me. I go, can you not? This is embarrassing. Cleveland does it. It's almost like he's aware he's doing it. And it's funny. I don't know. Trying to explain the unexplainable here. That's what we're constantly doing here. Trying to explain the unexplainable.
He's charismatic and charming.
You would have sex with Rob Cleveland, right? Not as a gay thing.
Not as a gay thing, but for sure.
There you go.
If it wasn't gay, I would definitely do it.
Pogo pedo. Like Snafu says, you're a pogo pedo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pogo supporting pedo. Yeah.
If you're asking if I think Rob Cleveland is pretty, yes, I do.
All right.
I can recognize.
Where do you want to take this, Aaron? Because I said final words and you just jumped up here.
Oh.
You're running your own program.
You said when somebody else was up there. I mean, if you want me to go, I'll go, and we'll say good night.
I mean, if you got somewhere to take this.
I mean, we could go all kinds of ways with that, but I'm going
to get Snafu on you now that you're saying that you keep saying love is love. You're supporting pedos. You're supporting trannies.
I think what he doesn't get is I still think he doesn't get it even after I've said it, is that you can love somebody and not like who or what they are. It doesn't mean, I have love for everybody.
Cleveland is rejecting your advances. He says he wouldn't go anywhere near you, nor Ohio.
You're rejecting me? It's okay. I really don't want it like that. I am happy with my girlfriend.
I got a girlfriend.
And you know what? I wanted to say earlier.
She's cool. And she would never cheat on me. And she would never disrespect me. And she would never.
I never say
myself
never.
And my nature to please her.
I never say never. I've seen too much, so it's definitely something that could run through my head. You don't
fucking keep it real with this goofy bitch. I know you don't.
What do you mean?
You don't tell her everything.
I don't tell her everything.
Hey, like,
I pretty much tell her
you're my girlfriend. I only love you.
Yeah.
See?
I wanted
what about them other women that you're looking at? What about them other women?
His girl.
If you lusted in your mind and heart, you've done it in the flesh.
Said his girl. Yeah, she doesn't even care if I'm masturbating.
Out of here, his girl.
I can watch.
He said it. Wes Watson is all of a sudden the authority for humanity.
No, but you respect him. He says it.
With some things, his understanding, whether he's applied it or not, or whether he goes in depth with changing himself and his language.
Nothing wrong with that.
Listen, Wes Watson on one level is like a frat boy, right? And I'm not going to say you're the same way, but that's how I perceive it from him. Right? He's got this frat boy kind of edge to him. They might say the same thing about me. I don't know. But, hey, it's my girl, and I'm in like a tap out t-shirt with the sleeves cut off. I'm over it. It's just like this persona.
White t-shirt.
These are fucking women. We're men. We do different things sometimes. We complement each other. We come together, like you all like to say.
Yeah, it's called.
And then we go apart. So, all this extra shit, maybe it's because I didn't have a mama. I don't know how to really love and cupcake it. It's just something about it. Something about the energy, the words, the terms, the conditions, the cause and effect. I'm not into it. What I see here most times in most of these relationships. Something's off. I don't know what it is a lot of the time. There you go. Christy Lee Dolls. I want a man. There's her problem. She's not going to do what she needs to do. She's going to sit around. I want a man. She just left a bozo that she told me and everyone else here she loved so much, but she was here every day. I say, Christy Lee Dolls, don't kid yourself. You're in love with the white gorilla. You're here all day, every day. I love my boyfriend. Right? Until she met a man friend. So, you might love your girlfriend or your boyfriend until you meet a woman friend or a man friend. In which case, why would you settle for less? That's what I'm seeing. She's about to do it again. She wants to go. She's over at Synthetic Warriors early morning because, she's got eyes for him. He's an attractive man and once was a somewhat doctor, he says, which doctor, non-doctor. He owned a lab coat. Pretty much what I'm saying. She's going to do it again. Wants a boyfriend. He wants a girlfriend. They don't know what they need to know for themselves and each other to be honorable, respectable, trustworthy, communicative men and women. They would have that. They'd have access to that or opportunities with that or an understanding of that. I don't see that. I see a bunch of push-pull, hormonal chimpanzees who lack knowledge of self and the other, keep making choices that lead to negative outcomes. Right? I'm always curious why these men who've been with so many women never end a relationship on positive terms. Every woman I've dealt with, all 5 of them, I have good terms with. Could call them, talk to them, deal with them. We just choose not to spend time, energy, attention together at this time. Mostly on my end, right? Really on their end too, in their own way. They're kind of doing their own thing. I'm doing my own thing. That's cool. Every one of these beta boy monogamy boys got to leave on breakup term. We broke up. Boyfriend, girlfriend, high school, broke up. Can't find a place of completion with each other or without each other. I'm sick of it. So when a man comes forth or a woman comes forth, like Jennifer, who has relationship with the men in her life but don't deal with them. She didn't break up with them. She said, we're going to go our own ways. All right. The last one or two bozos over 15-year period, you know, spent 5 or 6 years alone with nobody. So I don't know, man. I think the words and terms reveal our character, reveal a root of our consciousness. And if you're still thinking like a boy and a girlfriend,
I'm 15. I mean,
there you go. This is serious, maturation, emotional
15,
maturation.
I'm 40.
Arrested development.
I'm 6 sometimes.
Because, girlfriend,
but I
gonna want a ring, gonna want to be like, no. Are you ready to be her Prince Charming? Are you ready to take her away and save her from her horrible mundane life, lacking in really any value other than her looks?
No, I just add to her.
What's her source of value in her life? Go ahead and give it to me.
My source of value?
No, hers.
Her source of value in my life?
No. Listen closely. What is her independent source of value as you perceive it? Other than her looks, because you're not going to say looks, but I'm going to say it number one.
She's a caretaker.
Okay. Caretaker.
That's her source of value. And she loves her family.
Okay.
Her kids. I mean, there's all that falls into.
She has children with another man?
Yes.
Is this man in those children's life? There it is every single time.
More so.
Come on down. Come on down.
Well, let me answer
it's not the same dynamic every time. So what do we deduce from this? The same thing we've deduced over and over again.
He is now more so. He went through a hard time after they split up, and he's on the mend. He's trying to get it figured out.
Oh, so he's trying to get it figured out.
Yeah, he's getting there. It takes time.
So she needs a daddy.
They were together for a long time.
All right.
So he, I'm sure he didn't expect.
But one thing we know is she can't pick men.
I'll take that as a compliment.
I'm not saying you. If that applies to you, I don't know. I'm not getting into that. I'm saying the majority of women I meet can't pick men worth a damn. When you put them on paper for what their true inherent value and power structure is, there's little to nothing. It's look at his job, you know the deal. You know the worldly list.
She's a good woman.
Oh, he loves me. That's the but I'm saying that's the source of power and value. He loves me.
No.
And when not,
I'm funny as shit too.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah. And my wiener's bigger than the Tic Tac. I
knew that was coming. I was going to add that to the list. The big dick always has to come into the equation.
It's not a big dick.
You can't live without big dick in your life. That's one thing we know.
I won't claim it.
You got that? You got it all.
Well, that's not my claim.
Stealing fire from Prometheus.
I'm funny as a result of compensation. That's where I go.
Got it.
There you go. I had to learn to be funny, so I had to find.
This is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, now with you, it's a good dynamic with her. She actually gets some of the shit that I say.
All right. So, give me an example of one of the funny jokes you tell or she tells. Like you guys are hanging around. Hey, what do you call each other? Like Sugar Bear, Honey Plum, Babe. Oh, that's so fucking cute. I know. Hey, babe. Oh my God, I want to
grab me a drink?
Dude, when I'm out and I hear a grown man say babe with that tone, no.
I did.
This is what I mean. When I'm out somewhere, and I'm very rarely out because I don't want to hear it and see it, because then I vomit into my soup. Right? Once in a while I'll get a soup. So I like to feel high class and shit. And I eat it pinkies up, right? Like this. Yeah. So I'll have a soup from time to time to feel kind of high class and different. Instead of pizza, I'll change it up, and I'll hear someone yell out, "Babe," and I go, "Oh my God!" I cringe. I wince over. I just hunch over immediately, and I look over, and there's a grown man twice my age, right, with a Snapchat filter on, yelling out to his girlfriend, right, something he noticed because he's checking in with her. Hey, babe, look what I saw. Every 5 minutes. This is the boyfriend and girlfriend, grown people. Let's check in every 5 minutes and see the same stuff and bond over nonsense. I want to vomit. And then I go to looking at Jennifer. Do you hear this? You see this? She goes, I know.
So you check in with her.
She wants I check in with her. See, that's the irony. I check in with her to find out, am I toxic masculinity here? Am I not speaking into the Yoni-verse properly? Am I like dishonoring the sacred feminine? She goes, no, I want to vomit too. I go, see, this is why I love you. See, everything works, right? When it works, it works. Even when it doesn't. She gets it.
Well, she gets it too.
That's not how you show love. That's how you show codependent dysfunction. And folks who actually are in a true faith, true love space want to vomit because you see right through it. 6 months from now, you'll be popping tires and pouring bleach on each other's belongings and shitting on each other on Facebook.
That's not my style.
Or you won't exist. Oh my God, this is the love of my life for 6 months straight on Facebook. Then they don't exist no more. You don't even hear from them anymore. It's like they died. Just completely metaversely wiped from existence.
If you haven't gathered by now, I am not vindictive.
Paul, you and Jen equals monogamy. We've talked about this. Many times. I think you've been here when we did it. You're probably a retarded person. I'm capable of having connections with a woman or women simultaneously. I've had that at times with Jennifer. We focused almost exclusively, majority of the time, on what we're doing in our lives and sharing our free time with each other. You can call that whatever you'd like to call it. I'm done with the labels, boxes, and the confusion, man. Your thoughts, Aaron? On my monogamy, non-monogamy?
Well, I think you're monogamous wanting to be non-monogamous. And then,
okay.
The opportunity.
So I guess, so now where all the monogamy boys are going to tell me till I fuck someone else in front of Jennifer or behind her back that I'm doing monogamy.
Behind her back.
Because you were playing some ego.
You would do that.
Right. I wouldn't. I don't need to.
That you, yeah,
because
exactly.
I just talk to women and make connections and do what I want and then just incorporate her. And I haven't found that opportunity
she's down
yet.
For that.
That organically, authentically works for everyone, mostly me.
When it works, it works. When it's good, it's good. You can recognize that.
So I have nothing to prove to myself or anyone else. Why do I have to keep hearing
what I thought.
This narrative? It's bizarre. The insecurity of everyone else they keep projecting onto me. I'm moving out of my insecurity. I'm honoring my nature. Many women down there that from time to time I may want to experience with. I really don't put much time, energy, attention into it. To probably explore certain things and have experiences. I'm focused on other things. Strange concept, I know.
Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes.
We're back to Wes Watson. People talking about shit that's not an option for them. Monogamy boys and girls don't have an option to talk about what I'm doing and not doing because they don't have that option. If they did, they'd take it. They may want it and not take it. If they don't want it, then they don't need it. So I'm going to do what's authentic and apparent to me, and I'm going to see how it fleshes out because I'm a cosmic gambler. I'd rather honor myself and where I'm at on this path than people please. Simple. A lot of you folks would rather people please than honor yourself and your partner and the truth. That's my version of honoring my partner, is not bullshitting her from the beginning, middle, and end so she can make an informed decision. That's honorable. That's faithful. If I speak the truth and do what's right, everything will be what it's meant to be, even if that means us not being together. I'm willing to take that chance for what's true and what's right at this time. If I learn more, I will correct the record.
I say everybody goes through their own journey. So you can't screw up in this life. And if you're compelled to do what you're compelled to do, then that's fine.
I think people are jealous. We're doing the subliminals, Aaron. 1 second. Come on up. You tell me. Let's have the damn discussion. You keep avoiding our conversations and work that you desperately need to have, want to have. Keep avoiding it. Keep having it indirectly where we can't have it. Come up here like we did this morning, have the discussion about me being jealous of people who built a family. haven't built a family. You're a drunk. This is my point. You can't be present for yourself and your family if you're a slave 70 hours a week and drunk the other 30. Ridiculous. You guys stick your dick in someone, a child pops out, and you tell me about building a family. It's a joke. You produce nothing but disempowered, uninspired slaves who vote for masters and believe code because they're pimped on. It's far from family building. My assumption is wrong. There you go. Well, that puts that to bed, huh? That's the rest in that case. As if you're somebody who has a habit of telling us before you show us who and what you are. You tell us one thing, then you show us something else, then you retell us what the truth is once we've seen it all. So you think that I would take what you have to say as fact of the matter? Why do you think the court don't listen to most slaves? They already know you're going to lie. You've been brought up in a system of lies. You're a child of the lie. Children of the lie. Children of the devil. You don't think they know who and what you are because they look into themselves? They'll take a word you fucking say as truthful and honorable till you're about halfway through the conversation. If that, right? There might be some folks who they come in just by their energy alone, the way they carry themselves, the fact that they won't submit at the door. They already know what they're dealing with before they get in there. Most folks, it would have to take you halfway through a conversation to establish credibility and honorability with a court slave because you lie to yourself and everyone else so often. If you could get it done at all. Just out of inherent pathological lying, it would seem. This culture has made a living off of lying to itself and others in all ways. It's fucking fascinating. And they wonder why. Why is there a 98% conviction rating? Because they know you're going to plead and beg. Why? Because you're dishonorable, right? The rest of you are going to be shown to be dishonorable and bad faith like 5 minutes into a conversation. You're going to shake. You're going to try to fight and run, or you're going to go silent. And then the shit you do say, they're going to convict you with because you don't know yourself. So, I mean, this is just like ubiquitous, man. It's all day, every day. It's with the majority of folks. There's levels to it with everyone. And then you have to decide if what I'm saying is true, what your level is of what I'm saying, if it's true, and what's the level of folks around you. Then change it. So you tell me if you want to come up, you come up and you tell me, as your name says. You tell me. You can have a discussion. If not, I think I'm going to call it. Because it's just pure insanity, really. That's why I won't come up because of my ugly heart, right? That makes sense. So because my heart is ugly, you're scared or unwilling to address something you keep talking and typing about in chat. So I have an ugly heart, but you're here. You're watching and listening. So you're watching and listening and focusing on someone with an ugly heart. When I invite you up to talk, you won't come up because I have an ugly heart, but you're still here typing and watching and waiting and hating. Is it possible you have an ugly heart? My heart is true to myself and the universal purpose and meaning, and you rebuke that because you are a child of the lie, a deceiver of the devil, here to kill, steal, destroy, deceive. I mean, you're killing and destroying yourself. We know that. You admitted to that earlier. You're stealing a future for yourself, that wife and child. Do I need to go on? You're destroying your reputation and credibility, which wasn't hard to do. You've never really built it. It's not hard to destroy something you've never really founded. So you're unfounded as well. See? You have no foundation to your beingness, is what I've ascertained from you. It's not about ugly heart. This is about a truth that you perceive as ugly, right? The truth hurts. Only because I have a good heart could I tell you an ugly truth and say it with a straight face and offer you care afterward, knowing how you're going to react to it, which I did earlier today. So you can't make these claims that I have an inherently bad and ugly heart. If I did, I couldn't do what I do with people like you who constantly hate on me, follow me, rebuke me, and claim that I'm bad, but you keep watching and listening because you know I have something you need.
I mean, you're gonna sit there and constantly call me out. I gotta come up. You guys are gonna build your scenario. So, Paul, I wasn't saying anything negative. You just automatically jump on the bandwagon and start trashing people. What the fuck is that shit? Where do you? I mean, how is that?
Is anything I said true?
Probably 95% of what you say is never true.
Okay.
You got 5% of the time that you make sense.
Okay. Is it possible that, like, if we flip that, right? 95% of the time, what I say is true is what a lot of folks who I respect tell me.
5% earlier today was about you were going good for a while. Then I get back on here, everything's chill, and all of a sudden you're like, you told me he's not sucking my dick. Oh man, I'll be talking shit now.
Who's not sucking my dick?
Else in the chat wasn't even referring to you. You just want to pick at me and call me out. I don't understand what your fucking problem is with me.
Okay, so I can't pick at you and call you out.
No,
so listen, I can't.
If you don't want me to be here or have my opinion on your chat, just tell me.
No, that's not the thing. I want you up here constantly working on yourself.
No, I don't want to be up here constantly.
And working with me if you're able, if you're willing and able.
No, I don't want to be up here constantly. I enjoy listening to others too. You know, I mean, it's not all about the fucking let's rag on this guy's show. Let's exploit this guy because he's a fucking little more genuine than you're used to dealing with. No.
So you're saying you're more genuine than I'm used to dealing with?
I think so, because a lot of people don't oppose what you said. They let you railroad right over them and spit your narrative and don't try to correct you. The only people I've seen do it get labeled as a freak show because they get so fucking tired of the shit, they go off the whole time they're on the phone with you.
And you never did that, right?
Yeah, I've done it. Trust me. I know that you invoked that.
I did it again. I did that. Yep. Yeah. Your lack of self-control, accountability, responsibility is my and probably other people's fault constantly in your life.
It's not self-control. It's more motivation to set the record straight. When you hear so much bullshit being spouted, you eventually got to step in and say, "Look, dude."
Yeah, but don't you ever ask yourself? Don't you ever ask yourself why you come here from the beginning at all and stay here at all? Especially for someone who has 95% of. Especially for some,
I enjoy some of the other people that you have on the channel and stuff.
Oh, okay. So you come here for everyone but me. Yeah, that makes sense. I could see that.
Would that upset
Isn't it weird how you and I are always having opposing experiences and seemingly the majority of folks go, we want Paulie Boy 24/7 for some reason, jettison everyone else. You go, I only come here for everyone but Paulie Boy. And now you just emboldened a bunch of people to go start a channel and hate on me. So we'll see that over the next few months, I'm sure.
I appreciate your concern and your help. And your
could you name some of the people who you're like really attracted to on this panel that you just keep coming back for more and more of?
Attracted?
Just can't live without. No, I don't mean sexually, sir. Get your mind out of the gutter. This is what I mean with you monogamy boys. So even when I say attraction, you think I mean you want to fuck them.
Because I gotta watch you because you're.
I'm saying what keeps pulling you back here over and over again? What keeps what keeps pulling you back?
You
You like get off of my cloud.
I said attractive. Then all of a sudden you want to step outside your marriage. I thought you were monogamous.
He's a monogamy boy.
Before you can spit it out. I know I've seen people like you. And
he's got the yellow skin and the gray circle eyes. Monogamy boy, and he's wanting to die.
I'm 12 years old.
Drinking himself to a quicker death. He's gonna love that woman to his very last breath. He's a monogamy boy.
I'll maneuver me mentally on my own fucking show. Oh my God, let me act 5 years old.
He's got taco meat on his yellow skin chest.
Yeah.
He's gonna flex because he feels like he's the best.
It was fajitas.
Drinking it up.
There you go, changing the narrative again. It was fajitas. I'll show you the fajita meat, motherfucker.
It's respectable that you came up.
No, he's got to see the fajita meat. You got to see it.
I got a fajita. My wife just microwave. Swanson meal, cause I behave. Like the third child, up in your face. I'm a monogamy boy.
You fucking asshole.
Isn't that great? Isn't that special? Never seen a fucking tub of slop before. Wow, you're like really living it up, huh?
Yeah.
What else can you point to substantiate your meaningless existence other than a tub of meat?
Know. I've got nothing.
Tub of dead cooked
I
flesh.
wish I could be like you. I've got nothing.
I know. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
You want to lay down with me, Paul?
Not really. Again, a lot of the monogamy boys have this homoerotic sort of latent homosexual trait and tendency that tends to express when they have to be at one woman all the time. It's like being in prison.
He's wondering,
when you're in prison all the time, you start wanting to fuck Paulie the gorilla. You know you're a grown man, right? So get out of the prison known as monogamy, and then you can have other women that you can like spend time with when that one woman is sick of you.
Don't come up, dude.
He's a monogamy boy. That woman's sick of him. No.
Oh my God, I've never heard so much nonsense. It's like you are mentally battering my brain with your fucking sentences.
Fear.
Bullshit. Jesus Christ. You're something else, Paul.
Hey, isn't it great that like Moose is right next to you and like Aaron's right next to you and they both claim to be monogamy boys and they're both insanely disempowered and they're like very different opposites of the same condition. They're like trapped in some horrible reality and lifestyle. They escape onto the metaverse, spend their whole time on there for free, just deceiving themselves and others, pretending to be important, having no results on the ground. Then going, I'm a good man. I'm a real man. I'm a real boy.
Real boy.
So, I mean, you know, go ahead, man. Lay it on me. I'm here.
No.
I'm going to make, okay, he's onto it. He's onto it. I got to do it. You know what? I realized with this whole grift, non-grift, folks are begging me to take their fiat. So I might have to come up with private member association where folks sign up for monthly subscriptions and then they get various items that I'm going to create. Talcott bobblehead, t-shirt, all types of items, right? Monogamy boy t-shirt. So you folks love monogamy, right? I don't care one way or the other. I'm just doing what I'm doing. I don't care how you feel about it. You love monogamy, you're going to get monogamy boy t-shirt.
I'll send you.
It's going to be real fucking cute too. It's going to have like flowers,
you can wear
candy,
it on
and it's going to say, I'm a monogamy boy. And then you're going to find that these women who like got you like completely trained, they're going to come home with the shirt. They're going to get it from me, laughing at my broadcast and bring it home to you and go, could you wear this, hubby? And say, I'm a monogamy boy with like bedazzled graphics and flowers and candy. And it's going to have your nutsack clipped in a jar. Right, that's gonna be right next to the flowers, candy, and like it's gonna be like a very majestic scene. And then you're gonna see a nutsack, cartoon nutsack,
the unrealistic
like snipped, and then right into a jar. And you're gonna see the woman holding out a jar like this, a woman's hand, and snip your sack at the same time. And it's gonna like be a falling motion kind of picture. You'll be aware of what's happening. It's gonna be her hand with the jar, already snipped. Sack is mid-flight into the jar. And that's, you know,
if you'd be like a monogamy boy, you wouldn't be having all these troubles in your life, wondering about, am I in a good relationship with Jennifer?
No. What? Who said? Whoa! He's doing it again. This is what he do with therapy. Just completely remix and make shit up. When did I ever say I've been wondering about me and Jennifer's relationship? I have so much clarity in this relationship, and I've like provided so much clarity for her and with her. It's like incredible. It's like fucking insane.
It just sounds weird.
Like I'm living in a movie sometimes. I live in a very mundane movie surrounded by insane people.
Swingers kind of freak me out, man. It's just kind of
I'm not swinging, bro.
I didn't.
I'm not out here swinging. What are you?
I was saying swingers kind of freak me out. I wasn't saying you were.
Well, what is that, man? RT, get up here. RT's been here. He's been. Why doesn't he ever come up? These people never come up.
Kind of creep me out, man.
What are we bringing swingers into this for? And what is swinging? If me and Jennifer are out and she sees a attractive woman, a certain attractive spirit and physicality, and we both like her, and we like, you know, and then I inseminate her and we take care of that child, all of us together. Is that like swinging?
I think so.
All right. Well, there you go. You always have terms for shit. I don't know. I'm just
Aaron's shaking his head,
trying to explore my humanity, whatever that looks and feels like.
I don't know.
Julian.
Swinging is when you switch partners.
Thank you, Julian B, for your contribution. He says getting to know himself better.
When you have two couples and they switch partners.
Switching one partner or two partners.
Right. What is the difference exactly?
I'm saying
one's a menage a trois and one is swinging.
No, but like, let's do the simulation. It's really crazy. No, let's do the simulation. It's really crazy. Let's do the simulation. It's really crazy. Just imagine this. Take that hit of that reefer and imagine this. The woman only wants to be with one man. That's like her goal. She can have that. She gets what she wants. The man wants more than one woman. He can have that. He gets what he wants. Wow, that was crazy. So like I could be present and aware and loving and caring for one and two. See how that's like so crazy? Because it's about like bonding and actual principles and oneness. Like who and what we are, not finding completion to each other in some bizarre lifestyle. I know I lost you. It's really difficult to understand.
It was.
It's like, oh my God, I have such great results with one woman. Why would two be any different? And then we see how that works. And then like I get to honor my nature, woman gets to honor her nature. We all get what we want and need apparently. Because the woman just wants one man. You got him. White gorilla. I just, would like to honor my connections with multiple women if they're organic and authentic and sense-able.
Okay. And that's fine, but I mean,
right. So everyone gets what they want and need. Now, if the woman is going to do the whole, hey, I want two dicks, we could talk about that. Hey, if you're going to have two pussies, I want two dicks. Was that what you want from the beginning, or you want it now because you're egoic? Just let me know. We can figure this out.
I feel like it's a
keep it real yourself and others.
You're going to go outside of it. That's just my, observation. So
outside of what? Some imaginary boundary? There's no outside. There's inside the house, outside the house. There's a connection with a woman and there's a connection with another woman. There's no inside and outside. I don't create false boundaries for myself to play some kind of, game with reality and mapping it for security and safety. It's always about security and safety. For security and safety, there's inside and outside of the relationship. Could you show me that?
Now listen. I don't know much about your upbringing. I did see one episode where you were having some words with your dad. I'm not going to go into that, but
he's an infidel, as most folks are.
Well, what I was going to say is your childhood, evidently, were you in a nuclear family setting of a mom and a dad that both...
it was nuclear, all right. There was constantly explosions.
So would you have rather had your parents separate?
It wasn't about rather, when I was too young to realize what was happening. Of course, we have wants. I would have rather them be functional, whether that meant together or apart, whatever would have created more functionality.
Okay. See,
but again, to me, I can't see how another woman in the home, if they were functional already together, would be a detriment to that situation. It might have added a certain benefit, right? Then my father could stop lying about fucking other women, right?
Well, if that's going on, then that's a different situation. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, because men are going to have multiple connections with multiple women, and they're going to explore them or not.
On your perspective today, on how you view sex and relationships?
It might. I really am not interested. I've talked with enough men and I look into myself and know that monogamy is usually not the choice of a man at a certain point in his life. Maybe once he becomes more like a woman and loses testosterone. And oddly enough, women become more like men. The more they get more testosterone as they age, they want to fuck more.
I can just tell you this. I'm not knocking whatever type of lifestyle you want to choose. I just know that that's not what makes me happy or what I would look for in a relationship. So,
like I said to you, I'm not necessarily looking or not looking for anything. I'm telling you where I'm at on my journey. My nervous system and my beingness and my consciousness tells me that I'm able to love more than one person at a time, separate from fucking. So sexuality to me is an extension of a connection. Self is self. I mean, you could argue the other side. Relationships in general are a narcissistic endeavor because if self is self, you're really falling in love with the closest version of self you can find. Well, that would be me. So, again, I'm not looking for completion through another version of self. I would find that with my first self, me. I'm looking to share experiences and commune with other beings, other selves. Right? But I'm not looking to define my experience by that. So I don't get into monogamy, polyandry, polyamory, and all the rest of it. It doesn't serve me in the outcome. I'm doing what's natural to me and apparent to me until I understand differently, which will come through life experience. If I'm wrong, you'll get the report. I'm sure there's been plenty of other folks at the beginning of time still going on now who have one man and multiple women, and somehow they make it work. There might be a benefit to it. I'm willing to find out. If I'm dealing with women who are willing to find out, well, then we're going to find out. Fuck around and find out. Isn't that what they say?
Well, I don't say that.
Well, no, that's the phrase, sir. So I'm just saying, like, I'm not out here looking to put up numbers. I'm not out here looking to just fuck anyone. I have opportunities I haven't explored because it doesn't seem like it's the next right thing. There's the next thing, and then there's the next right thing, like I said. So,
but why project negatively on somebody who's found a monogamous relationship?
I'm not.
They're happy in, and they enjoy working towards a common goal with their spouse. I mean,
what makes you think that I can't work toward a common goal with like thousands of people a day?
I said, why would you reflect negatively on somebody who's currently in that situation?
I don't. I presume and assume until rebutted, like the court does, and then I reveal how all of you are not peaceful and secure and fulfilled, how you're not interdependent, you're codependent, how you're not working together on self-completion with yourselves first rather than completion through each other and your lifestyle. So, you know, I like.
Not everybody's at the same stage, Paul. You might be ahead of me on that.
So you're telling me
have that licked, and I might still be, dealing with something else, or.
And what I'm telling you is, I believe that if I am at a different level of that, one of the reasons is because when you pursue monogamy as a lifestyle, it takes you away from self and completion with self into completion with one other. I think it's a deception and a trick that takes us away from our most natural state of consciousness. It's not natural for us to pair off one person and go into a hole, go to work and home. That's not a natural state of beingness.
And being committed and not throwing your hands up, running away from a relationship, leaving the kids in a broken home, that builds character in someone, and you learn more about who you are when you're in situations like that. They're character builders. They're the way you learn how you're going to adapt, how you deal with things. I mean, this is part of a growing experience. I didn't just plop out one day, oh, yep, I'm a dad. This is how I'm going to be a dad.
I understand that, but you don't see the idea, the process that I could say whatever I perceive and want to say, and you're defined by your reaction to that, and then you're convicted by your reaction to that. If you know what you need to know about yourself and your life, or about life in general, and you know that when you hear something that's true, it's going to make you feel something. Why would you feel something? Why would you hear something that's false and it make you feel something from somebody you don't respect? You say you don't respect.
Because really I feel like there's an attack on the nuclear family, on a mother and a father figure in the home.
What's the attack?
I feel like not just you. I feel like in society today, I feel like from a lot of angles, there's an attack on, the nuclear family.
Oh, you're doing it again. This is monkey mind, looking outward to find the enemy. The attack is close to home. It's on yourself and each other.
The world that my
your belief
children are growing up in. They're going to grow up in a world where it's frowned upon to be.
I don't think you're seeing this the way I'm seeing it. The reason why you're having this reaction from a bunch of worldly slaves who are being led by the blind and corrupt is because this is not natural. You're seeing a pendulum swing back the other way, where they're going to go to fucking kids out in the open.
That's fucked up. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, and I'm telling you there's a middle path. Like, where what they say, love is love, but it doesn't involve fucking children And it, it doesn't involve shacking up with one person forever and finding completion to them. It's a community village idea with inherent power and hierarchical value systems, as I talk about day to day, and principle-based learning systems that lead to a common communion or community with a sense of self that is beyond a culture. Okay? So this is what is being called, I believe, out of me and others right now, is a way back to the land and the way back to we were meant to be.
Wow.
Right? If we can understand it.
So
If not, we will pendulum swing from leave it to beaver monogamy to hedonism, as we always have.
To me, that's there's a sinister spirit that's attacking the family, and I feel like if you're going to take that position, it's
You're
almost
presuming like that a family is characterized as two beings, and I think that it's bizarre deception.
Not two beings, no.
Right. A family is the human family, if you want to go to the original family, because we're all tasked to care for ourselves and each other on some level, and we all work in trust every single day on various levels. So there's a big family, and then there's an individualized extension of self and one's community. And there has to be order within that.
Okay.
And you don't get order with disorderly concepts. We're going to take two people, put them in a house, work with the daddy all day out in the world, and leave mom at home to watch TV. It's not working. Never has. Wasn't meant to work. It's a divide and conquer strategy. They don't want a council of strong men with women who see the children and us as seeing children all as our children. Past your ego, past your division, past your monogamy bullshit with a false church and a state of contract.
It has nothing to do with church.
You're still a state of marriage license contract. That is the false world. That is the false self. That is the underworld. Okay. The overworld outside of Plato's cave in the light of truth is we're a community. We're a village. We don't divide self from self. We unify. That means get your ego out of the way and understand that there's inherent value and power systems here. It means may the best man win. Sorry. So this is what I mean. I, at some point, had to realize this to go to the next level. There's a reason why women are not going to respect you and not going to stick around. And if they do stick around, fuck with other men or not really respect you. And because you're not love-able, first and foremost.
Why do you keep saying your?
I'm saying your as in me, talking back to me, and you're taking it personal. I just said speaking back to myself. Right. So it applies to you and you're getting triggered while I'm speaking back to myself because there's only one self.
No, sometimes I hear your voice as if you're like portraying some image onto someone. And I felt like you were doing that right.
That's your issue, not mine.
Yeah,
trying to reveal that to
irritating
you. It's irritating to you. It's inspiring to many others who accept life on life's terms.
You can both say, "Oh, I was speaking about myself," but the whole time you were directing.
I just did. There's only one self. You don't understand the effect. When I talk to myself in the box and talk to me, you think I'm talking to you because I am you. But you still want to find a place to divide. Or I am not you. You're better than me, sir. You're right. You're so much better than me. It's evident.
Never said I'm better than you. I just don't have the same characteristics as you do.
Right. I'm doing way better than you in life on all levels. That's what you're not accepting. Don't do the whole I'm not you thing with an ego snicker. We're one consciousness and awareness with a body that has personal choice.
That's such an egotistical thing to say.
I'm not interested in what you think it is. That's my apprehension. I'm looking at you and your life and lifestyle and presentment. I'm looking back at me, my life and lifestyle and presentment, what I stand for, what you stand for, what I know and apply, what you know and apply. It's better being me than it is being you. That's why you're here.
So what true joy are you getting out of life other than talking to people online, feeling like you're making
I don't know. Tell me what you're
while degrading people.
What is your example of joy? What is your example of joy?
You know, I take my kids to the park. I enjoy outings with my family. I enjoy going out and working my ass off, coming home knowing that I earned what I'm looking at.
So what makes you think that I don't have a lot of the same experiences as you?
Because you're talking in the opposite direction of what I just said.
Right.
You are.
Do you enjoy these broadcasts when you're on here every day, hours a day? You enjoy that?
I got the luxury of working for myself, so I'm able to sit on here and listen to you guys yak a lot.
Okay. I don't know, sir. I mean, there's many things I enjoy. I don't see the purpose of really discussing what we personally enjoy.
Okay.
I think that there's more meaning in discussing our purpose in life with our understanding of who and what we are and how it applies to life.
You pulled a Biden. You ducked out the question. Yeah,
Come on, man. I don't work for you. You work for me. Man.
God save the queen.
How did I pull a Biden now?
Because you asked me a question, I answered it. You were presented the same question, you ducked it.
I already said to you that by your definition of...
Or am I imagining shit again?
I enjoy eating pizza. Does that work for you? I enjoy eating pussy. I enjoy when there was time. Let me finish now. See, you're asking me and cutting me off. When I was with children who were not my own, caring for them, I enjoyed that. It was challenging and testing at times, but I enjoyed it overall. The process.
Okay.
I'm a human being like you. I want to believe that.
So your motives are going to be different. The things you enjoy in life.
My motives are going to be there. I don't understand. I've cared more for what the children need inherently doing what I do and who I am than you have your whole life. How do you
you're discrediting 18 years of me being a father and working my
ass off. That's one child. That's one child. Yours. Very selfish of you. You've done nothing for all the other children out there that I can perceive. So you're selfish and self-centered. I stuck my dick in someone. I had a child, and I'm going to focus on myself and that woman and that child till what? You find another meaning and purpose one day when that child grows up, and you're living off maybe Social Security.
Now, what the hell are you talking about,
sir? You're a slave. We've gone over this.
What children have you helped, brother?
Oh my God, he just doesn't get it. If he can't hold it in your hand right now in this moment, he doesn't see it. He doesn't understand it. So, I've given, let's just take one aspect. We'll get away from rights, freedom, principle, spiritual faith, because we talk a lot about that. I've given children a vision. I've given children a vision of them being able to do something with their life outside of being a weak ass, pathetic slave and make a living doing what they love to do. Something that I didn't really see too much of a vision of growing up in my home. So if I'm on someone's screen, instead of them talking to a pedophile, they're listening to me and watching me and going, the trailer gorilla could be somewhere with a bunch of grown men surrounding him, making a living, talking. Wow, that's magical. So I've already done more for children, including your child, showing a way of empowerment and freedom than you have, because you go to a slave job, I'm sure, every day. Talk to another man you call your daddy. Who's your daddy?
I fucking work for myself.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Dude, you are fucking ate up, dude. That's what I mean. That projection.
I am fucking shot, man. I took like 10 of them baked cookies the other day. I've been shot ever since. I think I finally lost it.
Good.
Christopher.
Oh my God, dude.
You have a boss daddy. Who is it? Come on.
I do not. Look, see this trailer over here? See that?
Is that where you live, sir?
Yeah, this is my home, dude.
The child's in there right now in the corner, shaking.
I don't know whether to take you serious or not, dude, because
you don't know when to take me. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
You all experience. You don't know what I'm doing when, how, and why.
Because you're a wacky motherfucker.
I may as well. This is why you all say I'm the devil. It's like that Rolling Stone song, right?
You do portray
What's puzzling you is the nature of my game.
You like to play both sides of the fence. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, my conversation here is...
So you can see that we're at least playing. There is no hate, malice, or harm done. We're just playing here.
Defend a position that nobody else seems to want to come up in front of you and defend.
Great. You did it. You did what no one else could do. Fantastic showing, sir.
That wasn't what it was about. You called me up here, damn it.
What were we just talking about, man? We were on a good subject there, and then you took it off. You took it off course. We just had a great subject, and I was about to get into something, and you crashed the car. See what you do? That's why I can't let you monogamy boys drive, because you always crash the car.
Well, see my new post hole digger.
All right. What a second. What did you just say? You have an African American out there digging holes? I swear, if this guy's got slaves out there, we're going to have a problem.
I appreciate that you tell me. That's nice.
Dude, it saves the back, dude. Digging sucks.
Yeah, no doubt.
Rob Cleveland, remind me what we were just talking about that was interesting. I'm sure you know. And then he fucking completely, this is what the monogamy boys, no control over their inner space.
I surrender, Paul. I surrender.
That's all you got to do, man. They'll say you're bending the knee. You're not surrendering to me. It's to the process I'm facilitating, which is a godly process. You'll be better off for it. Just stop the resistance, man. It goes so much better. You just surrender. It's like a trust fall. I'm the one guy they go, don't do the trust fall with him. Every time you drop, I catch you.
Good thing I got a hard head, so when you don't catch me, I'll just bounce right up.
Or I do this thing where like I put a mattress down and I don't catch you, so you get scared and fall on the pad. So you get the best of both worlds. I play both sides. See?
Yeah, that's a lot of trust. I don't think I can do that.
All right. Well, you're not willing to learn, grow. You should do heroin, man. Forget the alcohol. Just do heroin.
That's what I'm gonna
If you could surrender to like doing like heroin, knowing that you might die over and over again, you'll learn a lot about triggering. I'm joking. It's for metaversal purposes, entertainment. They'll say now I'm promoting heroin use. I don't do that.
I used to want to try
Dude,
that.
Needles terrify me.
No, you don't want to try it.
Never do that.
They'll take your soul. And
I used to want to try that. And then I
probably
saw a lot. And now
not good. No bueno.
Yeah, I don't want nobody poking me with no shit because I just, Dude, at that point,
I don't support the usage of pills and powders in general.
Listen, and I'm not talking negative about you because you might have done this, but I have friends that have done it too. I just tell them, man, I'm like, once you've gone to the point where you're fucking poking yourself to get high, dude, and you're just, I mean, there's one thing, like you said, cirrhosis, slow killing myself, but you can watch people degenerate like in a matter of months, you know, from doing that shit.
Yeah, they're not doing dope to get high. They're doing it to kill the pain because they're broken.
Yeah. It's sad, dude, because I got a friend right now that he's not doing so hot. And he'd been doing good for the last 5 years, and he's hurting himself, dude. I talked to him on the phone the other day. That's another reason I've probably been a little depressed because, dude, he started crying. We're friends. We've known each other since we were freshmen in high school, you know, and I've lived my own life. He lived his own life. He got in a lot of trouble. He's doing better now. And then all of a sudden he goes and does this. It was just, when he started crying to me on the phone, dude, it fucking hurt me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean,
his family, dude.
The more that you deal with this shit, life on life's terms, the more that you cultivate a space where you learn to dance in the rain instead of waiting for the storm to end. I don't mean to be cliche, but, you know, I found a way to learn how to dance in the middle of the storm. I don't wait for it to end anymore. This is just casualties to what it is. It's a simulation, man. Folks are going to drop like flies. You already seen it on some level. You know, how do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? How do you move forward with purpose and meaning and also experience some level of pleasure in your life? So that's our task, it would seem. We don't get to control anyone else. Yeah. I mean, you know, just make yourself as good as you can make yourself along the way, in whatever which way you're motivated to. Surrender the rest and encourage others to do the same. There's nothing else we could do, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
That's true surrender and faith, right? Do the next right thing, surrender the rest, influence others. What the fuck else is there to do except eat yourself alive with what you can't control?
Yeah. Well, one thing through all my years of dealing with friends and stuff going through this, you can only help people so much before, like, you know, even in my own situation, I gotta want to help myself first before anything's gonna matter. So I mean, all the talks, all the shame, all that shit ain't gonna matter nothing if I don't stand up and make the change. Which I'm worried about my friend because I feel like he's given up, which means he's not gonna end in a good place. I mean, it just sounded like he was giving up. So,
at a certain point, you got to cut him loose, right?
Yeah, that
spiritually, emotionally, you got to cut him loose. Hey, I love you and care about you.
Dealing with his, you know, other people's baggage and stuff like that. It's just
you just let him know, right? Hey, this is not personal. I'm not giving up on you, but you don't want to do better for yourself. I ain't gonna let you drag me down with you. So if you want to do what's true and what's right and get better, I'm here for you all the way. If not, I got to kind of distance myself because it affects me. Right?
Well, it's ego, man. I offered several times for him to come work for me, and he'd make good money. But he was, no, I want to do my own thing. I want, I'm not going to work for you because, we're the same. You're not above me. I'm not above you, dude. I'm just giving you an opportunity to earn a living. And
listen, man, you got to have discernment. Folks ain't right with themselves. You're extending too much. You're overextending yourself. You're giving opportunities to people who don't even see opportunity as opportunity. Like most folks here that I'm giving an opportunity and they don't even see it as an opportunity. They want to fight with me. Right? So that's the thing, right? You can't overextend yourself. Hey, bro, I'm going to give you opportunity. You want to be belligerent and see a problem where there isn't one? Just go keep choosing your own suffering. You'll learn or you'll die. Like we all will.
Yeah.
What's different from his walk, your walk, and my walk? We neglect our work for other people, places, and things, and we'll lose ourselves, kill ourselves, and maybe somebody else along the way, indirectly. So, yeah, man, I don't neglect my work and my walk for anyone else. You want to walk with me and work with me, great. If not, I cut you loose.
Yeah.
Prodigal son style. Go off in the world, you'll come back under daddy at some point.
A good friend of mine told me that a couple of years ago. He's like, dude, you got to quit looking back, pulling people with you. He's like, you just got to turn and look forward and keep going.
That's the thing. You think you're pulling people with you. They're holding you back.
Yeah.
You got your own movement. You got your own process. You got your own walk. How could you be doing it fully if you're trying to take them with you? If they were on it, they'd be walking. They're not.
No,
so you're holding
right
yourself back.
Yeah.
I got to get the hell out of here, bro, or else I'll never leave. That's what I do every night. I want to get out of here while it's still a little bit of light out. I want to get out and grab some stuff from the store. So give me some final words quickly. I appreciate you, Christopher, coming up and, having it back and forth. We'll do more of it. Yeah, LIG, get the hell out of here, man. Start rambling and meandering on. Give me a couple final words and get out of here. I know you love your daddy, but parting is such sweet sorrow.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
Life is good.
All right, goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, brother. Thank you.
Goodbye, Aaron. We appreciate you, sir.
See you.
All right, folks. Another one in the books. We opened it. We closed it. Did almost a full shift today, 7 hours. I did an hour or two this morning, so I covered my shift. We work full time around here, but there's no income and revenue. Only contributions and donations at times. Non-taxable event. Men and women on the land. American entrepreneurialism. Industrialism. Innovation, really. I'm an innovator here. Broadcasting genius. Marketer. Promoter. Non-promoter. Non-marketer. Non-broadcaster. I'm everything and nothing. The alpha and omega. All right. I got to get the hell out of here. Seriously. I love you. Doesn't mean I won't leave you. Sometimes I got to go. Man's got to do what a man's got to do. Stay true to yourself. Do the next right thing. Surrender the rest. Your peace will be one of your greatest forms of power. It'll lead to happiness, right? How could you be happy if you're not peaceful? So seek forms of peace. There's your empowerment. It'll lead to moments of happiness. Happiness is fleeting. But if you can be peaceful and empowered, inspired, inspiring, and faithful, I think you're onto something. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Oh, I wasn't ready for that. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Much love.